Welcome to the best of the Following the Nerd podcast, a compilation of all of the best bits from this week's radio show. To keep up to date with all of our top stories, go to www.followingthenerd.com and get in touch with us by sending us a tweet on Twitter at NerdFollowing and like us on Facebook.com/FollowingTheNerd. And now, with all the latest nerd news and reviews, here are your hosts, Marc and Saxon.
What, 3 weeks?
It's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks. It's been 3 weeks in news.
This is our third week now.
Yeah.
And in that time, 3 weeks worth of, well, actually, I think it's 6 weeks worth of news has built up.
Yeah,
we've a lot to go through tonight.
A lot of news to go through tonight, but we get through it, we will.
Hello, I'm Sylvester McCoy, and I'm following the nerd.
Hi, I'm Laura Summer, the voice of Janine Melnitz on The Real Ghostbusters, and you're listening to Following the Nerd. I put the sexy in secretary. I know that doesn't make sense, but it doesn't have to. Know why? Because I'm Janine frickin' Melnitz from Queens, New York.
Star Wars, big news this week. Well, actually, now, because we were away for a couple of weeks, this news is actually a little bit old, but we haven't talked about this on the show. I know you covered it on the Nerd News, and we have covered it quite a bit on the site itself.
Yes.
But we have yet to talk about it. Harrison Ford, the 71-year-old star who plays Han Solo in the Star Wars movies, has been airlifted to hospital after being crushed by a falling hydraulic door on the set of Episode 7 of Pinewood Studios. Now, I think this actually was breaking news on our last show, which was 3 weeks ago. And
it was because I talked about it.
Yeah, because Charlie Adler was on the show, and I think it literally just happened as we were coming off air.
It happened as we went on air.
Okay, but
yeah.
we didn't really.
It wasn't on the site.
There wasn't a lot known about it. It was just we knew it happened.
Ruth certainly didn't know a lot about it.
Yeah, bless. Okay, but despite reassurance that he'd only injured his ankle, Ford has had tests on his chest to assess the severity of his injuries. The grandfather of 3, is now said to be recovering from his injuries and in good spirits. Ford was immediately assessed by medics after being hit by the door, which was rumoured to be the door of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Snort.
Irony!
Recovering from his injury, blah, blah, blah. But some people said he was in a bad way and clutching his chest when he was on the stretcher. Ford was taken by the ambulance to the John Radcliffe Hospital in Oxford with suspected fracture of his ankle. It is understood he has no major chest injuries but is awaiting further tests. Now, that was the initial report, that he's okay. Mm-hmm. He might have a broken ankle. Yeah. Or sprained or whatever, but he's okay, don't worry. Now,
yeah, and some news had come out as well saying that he'd actually been discharged from hospital as well.
Yeah, so that basically he was alright. But now, what happened was then over the next few days, the story kind of, the Sun chipped in. Not that we ever listened to anything the Sun says.
Because they're so reliable as a source.
Yeah, but basically over the next few days, what had happened was the story went on, so it's been well publicised that Han Solo himself, the great Harrison Ford, had an accident last Thursday, which was obviously a couple of weeks ago, while filming Star Wars Episode 7, with the official story that he had hurt his ankle, while others reported his ankle was broken. However, could there be more to this story? Enter the FTN Conspiracy Corner. Lucasfilm have already said that they have good news on Ford's injury, but that there is a lot more speculation that the good news could be a while away. Yet our man Chris Segal over at the Star Wars Underworld has been reporting on some very strange rumours, starting with Perez Hilton, which reported that they were told the following by a source close to the movie. We were told that he had pelvic injuries and may have had a chest x-ray. There's talk that his ankle is actually broken and he may still be in the hospital. Everyone was thankful nothing hit Harrison's head. It is not known when he'll be ready to start filming again. The cast is livid and are openly questioning the safety of the sets and have asked for everything to be triple checked. We knew that on the opening night. We did, yeah. Because funny, even remember my wife had said that apparently the sets were being rigorously tested to make sure everything was okay. Because there was this worry that, of course, they're under a lot of pressure. Where the story has gone since is that apparently Harrison Ford has indeed broken his leg and will be off his feet for
quite
6
some
to
time.
8 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the impact that's going to have on Star Wars.
Major impact. Because this new trilogy, apparently Harrison Ford is the main character. The focus of the sequel trilogy is Harrison Ford's character. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing his family.
Well, the rumour is that the movie opens with Luke Skywalker basically having disappeared.
Yeah.
And Han Solo takes
he's leading the charge to find him.
With a load of Padawans, a young Jedi.
It's pretty much a bigger version of the start of Empire Strikes Back.
Kind of, yeah. That's nice kind of full circle there. We know that Lucas does love his full circles. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's kind of the story. But as you said, the whole idea that what we're hearing is that Harrison Ford, Han Solo, is the centre of the movie. It's all about his character, which of course leads us to believe that this one will be the one that Solo dies in.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, he wanted to die at the end of Return of the Jedi, but George Lucas wouldn't let him.
Yeah. So I think the only way they managed to get Harrison back to Star Wars again is saying, look, we'll kill you off. We'll give you your death. All right? Deal? Good. Yeah. Come back.
Yes. We'll let you die. We'll let you die.
Yeah, just Ford going, please, let me die.
Let me die.
But can we make another Indiana Jones?
And wasn't there talk yet that they're going to let him do another couple of Indiana Jones?
There was another 2 Indiana Jones movies.
So if he's off his feet for a while, what are they going to do? Do you think they're going to sort of?
They're going to have to do pretty much what they do if an actress gets pregnant, for example. Like I was just going to say, like do that Widow. Kind of in reverse, because with Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, they moved all her scenes forward. Same as Halle Berry with Days of Future Past, moved all her scenes forward, got those shot and out of the way before she started showing her baby bump. With this, they're going to have to do the opposite. So now they're pushing off Harrison's scenes to later on in the schedule and getting all the stuff with the other actors done first.
Yeah.
But how that's going to affect major scenes where Harrison Ford's involved with the other cast is going to be quite difficult as well. And how much involvement does Harrison Ford's character have in the movie? Is he going to be in a lot of pivotal scenes? Are those scenes going to need to be rewritten so he's not in them?
We see, we're hearing talk as well that his character's going to be written, that he's going to be sitting behind desks a lot. And all. That's not Han Solo.
No, Han Solo is running down a corridor holding a blaster.
Yeah, and he's shooting stuff. And he's killing bad guys and blowing up spaceships. And that's kind of what he does.
The only sitting that Han Solo does is behind the wheel of the Millennium Falcon.
Exactly. So we don't know. That could cause problems. But Lucasfilm has been very quiet about it. Sorry.
From what I have heard from rustlings and rumblings is that this injury has seriously screwed things up for production. Naturally, it would have done as well. And they're so worried now about meeting that deadline, that December 15th deadline.
Yeah, so we could see it on May. I still would be okay to wait for the extra few months.
No, I wouldn't.
No, but I want it. Star Wars is a summer movie. It's not Harry Potter. It's not Lord of the Rings. It's not Sherlock Holmes. It's a summer movie. It's a night like that. You go to the midnight show and it's still bright and it's...
Yeah, you want to be watching Tatooine. You don't want to be watching Hoth.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. You come out of Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit and they're nice... kind of Christmassy
cozy,
almost, and you walk out into the cold, and ideally it's snowing and it's lovely and romantic. Not Star Wars.
It's quite magical too. Because if you watch the Harry Potter movies, there's always like a Christmas scene in every one of them,
and snow, and and it's all dark, and it's got that kind of But Star Wars isn't
Star
that
Wars
movie.
Is bright and adventurous and galaxy hopping.
Yeah, you want to go out afterwards with your lightsaber and, attack a tree. You
which would be easier to do in winter, in all fairness, because it's darker early, so your lightsaber would show up a lot better at night. And no, is that just me? Am I going too far again? There we go. Well, it's all about Star Wars recently, isn't it? Nah, who are we kidding? It's always all about Star Wars. And we have some news, rumours, and madness for you today from the galaxy far, far away. Later, a few weeks ago, TheForce.net reportedly received an email from a listener who works at a company that helps produce Star Wars Rebels, and he provided them with some new information about the series cast and its premiere on the Disney Channel this fall. Beware, minor spoilers are to follow. Firstly, a name we've not heard in a long time, Obi-Wan Kenobi, will be appearing in the pilot, voiced by FTN favourite James Arnold Taylor. Making Star Wars heard that he will appear as Making Star Wars?
That's what the site was called, Making Star Wars.
Making Star Wars heard that he will appear as a holographic recording.
Can I just interrupt you for 1 second? Since that's news, we have actually... there is a clip on followthenerd.com, a French trailer for the show aired, and it shows Obi-Wan as a hologram on like a little blue table where he seems to be talking to the young Jedi of the series.
Nice. Another character we can't wait to see in action, the Inquisitor, more on him later, whose voice has been a topic of intense conversation since he was first revealed, will be played by Harry Potter star Jason Isaacs, according to various sources.
Love this. Isaac's got a great voice.
Because he has that sort of sinister whisper.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? It's very alien.
Yeah, and he's very British as well, which is a very Star Warsian thing. And he's got such a great menacing voice.
Class. Yes, and...
Kicking things off?
Are we? And kicking things off, Imperial Agent Callus is the main enemy of the 2-episode series premiere, which also features Wookiees. The character of Callus will be voiced by Jack Reacher in Rise of the Planet of the Apes star David Oyelowo.
Yellow.
Oh, Yellow.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Thanks, Mum and Dad. Making Star Wars have also released some details about the principal characters and info on the pilot episode. Ezra was born in the first year of the Empire. This is a detail we could have guessed based on when the show takes place and Ezra's age. However, we've never heard it put so poetically. It makes Ezra a true child of the Empire. Sabine has a way of making her explosions look beautiful, right? I'm not sure if this is new information or not. We know she tags on things. We know she is an explosive expert. I'm guessing her rebellious attacks have a way of making an artistic, if not theatrical, statement, but that's our guess. A Deveronian named Vizago is an underground dealer/crime lord on Lothal. We heard that Star Wars Underworld was going to feature a lot of plots about how the Underworld on 1313 supplied weapons to the rebellion. Perhaps we're going to see how this unfolds at the micro level. Also, we saw Hondo supplying weapons to the rebels on Onderon in Star Wars The Clone Wars.
This is interesting as well, that 1313 gets a mention. Cause did you ever finish The Clone Wars? Because I know you were watching it. Have you ever finished it?
I'm still piloting away through Series 1.
Oh, right, okay. But yeah, 1313, which was, of course, the Star Wars game that was all but finished before the whole Disney thing. And it pops up at the end of Clone Wars.
Right.
It's mentioned quite a bit, and it's obvious that the idea was to get the idea of 1313 familiar with Star Wars fans before the game came out. It's interesting that it's popping up here again, and it makes you wonder, is there any truth to the rumours that persist that the game is still going to happen?
Well, if so much development and time and work's gone into depletion, it baffles me as to why Disney decided to shut it down.
Do you think it's part of the reason Disney have shut it down because of this whole thing where they're saying, from this point on, this is year zero. Everything that happens from here on in is continuity.
Yeah.
It's 100% continuity. Is there maybe parts of 1313
that they
need to change the continuity slightly?
Perhaps.
Where they're like, well, we don't think that's what's going to happen. We don't like that idea. Rather than scrap the whole game, they're tweaking and changing and twisting a few things. That kind of way?
So instead of saying this game is suspended indefinitely, but it is still coming, so more people are going, oh, but when's it coming out? When's it coming out?
Yeah.
They're saying it's cancelled, it's done, it's never coming out.
And this could be a thing for Disney. If Disney do release this, say they release it next year, 6 months before Star Wars comes out, they release it next summer, out of the blue, that'll win a lot of the fans over.
It will, yeah.
A lot of the fans will be like, okay, they gave us what we were looking forward to.
We were waiting for this for ages, and they delivered.
That could be a trump card.
Perhaps, indeed.
It's probably true to say that Star Wars Episode 7, the rumour machine is well and truly rumbling along like a Jawa sand crawler. It's quite glorious. Right. This week, the big story was that the latest Star Wars chapter will feature two classic, mostly EU groups. The Night Sisters, probably best represented in the Clone Wars animated series, and Jango Fett's Mandalorians. Now, the Night Sisters thing has been around for a while. This ties in, Saxon, to what you were saying, with a supposed leaked image. Remember the image that came out weeks ago that looked like a Night Sister, and nobody was quite sure if it was from Star Wars? And the rumour that the actress Lupita Nyong'o could be playing a Night Sister, like we said, possibly as Ash Ventress, and the Mandalorian thing is probably one of the biggest fanboy wishes. Latino Review has reported that in the new movies the Jedi will have mercenary enemies, and they add that the Mandalorians would make a big appearance in the upcoming sequel, Star Wars Episode 7. If you're asking who the Mandalorians are, it's obviously you're not a big Star Wars fan. Curiously, Sabine Wren in the upcoming animated series Star Wars Rebels is also a Mando, and this could tie into the rumours that we've heard as well, that Rebels is going to set up a lot of things for the new movies. The source also says that a Sith witch and witches are going to be in Episode 7. We don't know the name of the characters, nor do we know if they're loosely based on the Night Sisters of Dathomir. Dathomir, of course, is where Darth Maul came from. In a related story, Intercool, this is what we're saying, reported that Han Solo is pretty much the main character of Episode 7, leading a galaxy-wide search party for Luke Skywalker. So could these two stories tie together? Could the Mandalorians and the Night Sisters have Luke? Perhaps the Jedi employ the Mandalorians to locate Luke, because they're the best mercenaries in the universe. Perhaps from the Night Sisters, who knows? It's great to speculate.
Wouldn't it be excellent to kick off Episode 7 with Luke kind of being in Palpatine's role from Revenge of the Sith?
Yes.
And having John Boyega's character riding in, leading the charge, and Calvary using his lightsaber, taking down all the bad guys to rescue Luke?
Yeah. Like Luke's gone dark side.
Not necessarily.
Is getting close to... Yeah,
because he's been beaten, worn down.
The Dark Empire, the Dark Horse Comics Dark Empire series played with
did
that
go
idea.
Down that road, yeah.
That Luke let himself be taken to the dark side a little bit, to learn the ways really of the dark side of the Force, which is in the EU is how a lot of Jedi get caught, they decide to study it.
It's like what Palpatine says in Episode 3, you know, like to truly understand the Force, you need to study it from both aspects.
Exactly.
Not just from the Jedi, but also from the Sith.
Which is a fair point. And I think the big thing that a lot of people may miss with the prequels is that they were setting up this idea that the Jedi, they weren't just fallible. In a lot of cases, they were downright wrong.
Yeah.
You know, the way they did things was set up to crumble. And if Luke has learned anything from Yoda's teachings and from, we sort of were led to believe that Qui-Gon is going to be involved in some way in the teachings of it and everything. If he's going to learn, he's going to have to do things differently.
Yeah.
Which means that the dark side we don't talk about that it whoops here. And the Night Sisters would tie into that.
Yeah.
Because I know you haven't got to the stage in the Clone Wars, but the Night Sisters, they basically are Darksiders. They live in the Force almost. They're a very unusual Star Wars character because they are exactly what they say. They're witches. They use magic and potions and spells and but they're great characters. And the idea of bringing them in, I think it could be really good.
Yeah. And of course, in order to perfectly attack something and beat something, you need to understand it first.
Exactly. The Mandalorians to this could be Han Solo's, there's nothing beats a good blaster by your side. So there is that flip. But you know what I can't help thinking while I'm reading all these rumours, and I love these rumours, and I have so many stories going in my head, I have so many ideas of where these movies could be going. But you remember Kathleen Kennedy said that they're going to be using social media and the internet in a way that they've never before?
Yeah.
Do you think, is there possible a lot of this is just being fired out? To either throw us off the scent or to see what we like, see what we don't like, what the Star Wars fans are excited about, what they're not excited about.
That makes a lot of sense.
Is there are we being played here?
Well, that does sound something that's right up J.J. Abrams' alley.
Yeah,
That is something he would do.
Gone!
Oh, God, no.
But I like that idea as well. But the only difference is that in this situation, it would be Lucasfilm and Disney doing it, whereas before it was just geeky fanboys on the net making fan stories up as they went. So I'm actually okay with it.
Yeah, me too.
But I can't help feeling that a lot of this is miles off.
Yeah. It's deliberately throwing us off the scent.
Yeah. But still.
Risky, though. Because you could be setting up all this awesome stuff and a lot of people will be building, as you said yourself, building a sort of idea of what we're in for in your mind, only to go and see it and be let down because it's something completely different.
Isn't it like the Doctor Who thing, though?
That's what I was just going to say.
Because remember, Captain Jack Gallifrey is inside Captain Jack, and he's actually the last child of Gallifrey. I remember this amazing story, and then you're like, what? But he's just a guy?
No matter what you come up with, it's always going to be better than what you actually see.
Yeah. So, it's a dangerous game to play.
Well, moving on, Deadline reports that Lucasfilm is making a deal with Looper writer-director Rian Johnson to both write and direct Star Wars Episode 8 and Episode 9. Johnson would be taking the reins of the franchise from director J.J. Abrams, who is currently helming Star Wars Episode 7. Meanwhile, The Wrap claims that Johnson will only provide a treatment for the saga finale, and the director for that final film has not yet been decided on. We'll update with official word as soon as it's available. Most of Johnson's writer-director credits are for indie films like Brick and The Brothers Bloom, though he more recently got some mainstream attention with Looper. He also directed the fan-favourite and critically acclaimed Ozymandias episode of Breaking Bad. Widely regarded to be one of the best episodes of the series, Star Wars will be Johnson's first time writing and directing a film based on existing material. Have you seen Looper?
Loved Looper.
Yeah?
Really liked Looper. Like all time travel movies, you break it down too much at the end, lots of it doesn't make sense. But in the moment, visually, everything else...
On the surface...
Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed it. I think he could be a good man to look after Star Wars, yeah. Last piece of Star Wars news of the night. So much speculation on Star Wars Episode 7's release date, names, etc. floating around. That a full buzz as rumours are coming that Carrie Fisher, better known as Princess Leia's daughter, Billie Lourd, has been cast in the film for her resemblance to the mother. Word is that she'll be playing Princess Leia in a flashback sequence throughout the film. Now, everybody's like, no, Star Wars doesn't do flashbacks. But then I was reading a forum and this guy says, yeah, but could it not just be like a hologram?
Yeah. It could be more of the same of Help Me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, or My Only Hope.
Exactly. Now,
there could be lots of little kind of holograms stored in various R2 units.
Yeah. I mean, why not? It exists in the Star Wars universe. Let's do it. Let's play with it.
And it would build on the storyline, and it would cement it more into the original trilogy. What we've seen before.
Yeah. Now, the thing about Billie Lourd is, I don't know if you've seen any pictures of her.
I have not, no.
Right, she's beautiful. She's so good looking. She's a really, really beautiful girl. But she doesn't really look there is that resemblance. You know, everybody has a resemblance to their mom.
Is it one of those things?
But
is it one of those things where you look at the person and you can't quite place who they look like until someone says they look like so and so, and you're like, oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, or whenever you go, oh yes, you're such and such a son. I can see that now. But if you didn't, she doesn't look. I don't think she could pull off playing a young Carrie Fisher.
Right.
Steady. I don't think she could. But
maybe in a distorted blue.
Funny, somebody said maybe it could be like an old sort of hologram. It could be tiny on the screen. They put the fade in. You know, maybe. But yeah, so that's out there at the minute. But it's nothing confirmed about that at the minute.
Hi, this is Ashley Eckstein, voice of Ahsoka Tano on Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and I follow the nerd.
Hey there, this is James Arnold Taylor, voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Johnny Test! Awesome! Yabba-dabba-doo, Fred Flintstone, Leonardo the Ninja Turtle, Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank, and I am following the nerd.
Mark.
Hello.
Would you fancy a wee bit of Marvel news?
Well, let's do it.
Do you wanna?
Let's do it.
Let's do that thing. Ant-Man villains and plot revealed. According to Joe Blow, the main villain of Ant-Man will be Darren Cross. In the comics, Cross is a foe of Scott Lang and head of Cross Technological Enterprises, a competitor of Stark Industries and Oscorp. The site adds that instead of his pink Hulk-like stature in the comics, Cross will sport an outfit similar to the Langs, but more military-style, yellow and black in colour, and with a tendril-looking apparatus coming off its back, like with Agent Venom. There may well be some merging of attributes from other characters for this role, or multiple villains at that. Yellow Jacket, perhaps. I think this is very interesting. I think this is possibly where part of the Wasp's costume would come from.
Okay.
Think so?
All right, yeah.
Like that incorporated with the Ant-Man costume.
Okay.
That's technology. Darren Cross also has a cousin, William Cross, who becomes the villain Crossfire in the comics, a CIA-trained agent with expert martial arts and weapons skills, in addition to a cybernetic eye. According to the Rap's Jeff Schneider, Corey Stoll will play Darren Cross and Patrick Wilson is William Cross. It remains to be seen if William becomes Crossfire in the film. And some other tidbits are, story begins with Scott Lang being a thief and single dad who's fallen on hard times and one day breaks into Hank Pym's apartment and steals the Ant-Man suit.
Can I just check this with you? Scott Lang is
Paul Rudd.
Is Paul Rudd, and then that means
Michael Douglas is
Douglas,
Hank
right,
Pym,
okay.
yeah. Right, the Ant-Man suit will be much more elaborate than we've seen so far, with the helmet being able to open and close, much like Iron Man, and an assortment of red lights all over the suit, again in Tron fashion. The helmet eyes will also glow red when closed. It's said to be a much more complex and futuristic suit than what we've seen so far. Ants, as in the actual insect, are the main ally and superpower for Ant-Man in the film. Lang will speak to the ants via his helmet, just as he does in the comics, which is said to be a special element to the overall story. Armed with the astonishing ability to shrink in scale but increase in strength, con man Scott Lang must embrace his inner hero and help his mentor, Dr. Hank Pym, protect the secret behind his spectacular Ant-Man suit from a new generation of towering threats. Against seemingly insurmountable obstacles, Pym and Lang must plan and pull off a heist that will save the world. Ant-Man is set to be directed by Peyton Reed, and the script rewritten by Adam McKay. The film stars Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, Evangeline Lilly, Corey Stoll and Patrick Wilson, and is scheduled for release on July 17th, 2015.
Evangeline Lilly has to be Wasp, doesn't she?
Of course she
has
is.
to be Wasp.
Of course she is.
I mean, there's no way she's not Wasp. She's so pretty, and she's such a good actress. She's got to be Wasp.
The right size for Janet Van Dyne.
Yeah. Tall, right? What, 3 inches tall?
No.
Okay.
And normal human.
Right, okay. It has to be. And you have issues with the ants.
Yeah.
I have issues with the spiders. You have issues with the ants. What is your issue with the ants? You just think it's going to be hard to sell this?
I think it's just really, really weird. I mean, obviously, in the context of the comic books, it's going to work. And it has worked. But the fact that you're going to release a summer tentpole movie about a dude who can shrink down to the size of ants, ride an ant, and speak with an ant, it just... If Edgar Wright was still on board, I would have more faith in it.
Right.
But now the fact that Peyton Reed's directing and Adam McKay is writing, it sounds like it's going to be played for laughs.
Right, okay. I know, I think, I don't... I can understand why you're nervous about it, why you think it might not work. But you know what? In a franchise that has given us gods and aliens and men in iron suits and vaccines that make you super strong, and I think the whole idea of stretching your believability, I think that's done already.
Yeah,
I think we're done with that. I don't.
But actually, communicating with an insect.
Yeah. But I mean, he shrinks to like an inch tall. I
know, but like, it's not like ants can comprehend English. Like, how does he do it?
I don't think he talks to them though. I mean, he can control them more than go. Actually, right, lads, do you fancy doing this? Right, for me? Yeah, but more as in you don't do this. Yeah. I think it's something you see him do.
Yeah, he'll do it like once or twice.
He's not at some point going to beat Ultron in Avengers with ants.
Yeah. It's like, what have you got? I've got the ants!
Yes. The world is mine! Ants!
I control all the ants!
I don't think they're going to do that, right? Okay, Amazing Spider-Man 2. So reactions have been split over Sony's Amazing Spider-Man 2. Right now, it's sitting at about 400,000 short of 700 million. At first glance, that seems to be a decent haul, but take into account that the lowest grossing Spider movie, that it's the lowest grossing Spider movie by over $50 million, and the film is yet to reach 200 million in the US. When you add Sony's head, Amy Pascal's reported boasting that it would gross $1 billion worldwide, then you get the idea. Now to add insult to injury, ain't it cool if heard that the third film in the franchise is going to get delayed? But I have been told that The Amazing Spider-Man 3 has been moved to an undetermined date in 2017. Time for a second reboot, perhaps.
Oh, God, no.
It's not. No. I don't think that's going to happen. The Amazing Spider-Man 3 was set for June 10th, 2016. The Amazing Spider-Man 4 for May 4th, 2018. And the fourth entry was never actually confirmed to be a Spider-Man 4, which directors on board the Sinister Six and Venom, it's unlikely to be one of those movies. In April, producer Matt Tolmach revealed that both spin-offs would actually be released before Amazing Spider-Man 4. It's possible the Sinister Six will take over the June 2016 slot. Drew Goddard, who was writing and directing the villain film, recently dropped out from Marvel's Daredevil Netflix show, and this seems to suggest that he'd be coming sooner rather than later. It would be a somewhat riskier move, though. A movie focusing on villains with Andrew Garfield's Spidey likely to be a cameo at best, and of the six bad guys, we've only met Dane DeHaan's Goblin and Paul Giamatti's Rhino. Although Electro and Lizard are possibilities, they are not among the villains that Sony teased for the film. Then they could release Amazing Spider-Man 3 in 2017, blah, 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 blah. Another possibility is that Sony has taken into account the fan reaction to the box office numbers and are actually taking the time to get the script for the third movie right, rather than rushing into it and releasing less than 2 years after the previous film, like they did with Amazing Spider-Man 2. How this affects the rest of the films remains to be seen. Of course, none of this is confirmed. Now, that rumour again is still coming in that, there's a lot of people out there comic book writers and people associated with these movies that are saying that Spider-Man is going to be co-funded by Disney.
Yeah.
And that the idea is that while the Disney movieverse and Spider-Man will still be exclusive, Spider-Man will possibly pop up in one of the future Avengers movies, and the idea is that the Spider-Man movies that we've seen so far, the Andrew Garfield ones, exist within the Marvel movies that we've seen.
Yeah. Well, we know this because, again, there was the whole ruckus of trying to get the Oscorp tower in the Avengers skyline. Mm-hmm. So you'd see the Stark tower, and in the background you'd sort of see Oscorp popping its head up behind the buildings.
And there are motorbikes in Amazing Spider-Man 2 somewhere with Stark Industries logos on them that were sneaked in as a little hee-hee, but they're still in there.
Which does essentially say this is in the same universe.
Yeah, exactly. We talked about this before in the show. Can fans sit back and just say, can they still enjoy Spider-Man while lying to themselves and pretending that exists in the Avengers universe? I think they can.
Yeah. It would be really, really nice, though, to have a sly little wink, like even in Amazing Spider-Man 2, where Electro is kind of like...
little what?
A sly little wink.
Sorry, okay, go ahead.
A little wink, a little, a little sort of nod whenever Electro's in the middle of Times Square and he's wrecking the place. If Spidey would go, "Oh, not again! They just finished rebuilding this place."
Yeah.
Just a nod to the Avengers movie.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay. What about Frank Grillo?
Frank Grillo confirms Crossbones. So at the end of Captain America: The Winter Soldier, everyone and their mother's seen the movie now. We can go into spoiler territory.
Yes.
We saw Frank Grillo's SHIELD/Hydra agent, Brock Rimlow, broken and burned, but very much breathing and ready to be reborn as the villainous Crossbones. But when can we expect to see him? Well, Grillo was doing the press circuit at the minute for The Purge Anarchy, and has been chatting to Collider about his big return. I'm cautiously optimistic that you will see me in the not-too-distant future in the next installment of Captain America. Very early on, the director said, look, this is an origin film for this character. We're going to discover who this is, and this is a big movie with a lot of moving parts. But we're going to discover you in this film, and, you know, here's the information about who Brock Rumlow turns into. When Rumlow makes it back to health, he'll no doubt be carrying some scars. He needs a costume. Coincidentally, it could be a mask with crossbones on it. So has Cap officially got a new nemesis in the third outing? Looks likely. I mean, he has to be set up as the big bad in the third one.
I don't think there's any surprise here.
Yeah, because, I mean, he even had that shot at the end of The Winter Soldier, which was so clunky, where you see him being pulled from the rubble and put onto the stretcher and all. And it's just, like, that's sequel bait right there.
Yeah. But the thing is, again, the beauty of the Marvel Universe is we may not see him in Captain America 3, but you might see him in Thor 3, or, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's...
It would kind of like be setting up Red Skull in an Iron Man movie. You know, he's definitively a Captain America villain, start him off in that, and then...
But Crossbones is very second tier, like, he's not...
he's not the big bad.
No, he's
because
very henchman.
I'm guessing in Captain America 3, there will be a big bad.
Yes.
And, you know, Crossbones will kind of be like the Winter Soldier of this movie.
I think so, yeah. Right, Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk.
Indeed.
Now, we're going to go into spoiler territory here, but since nothing's confirmed, we're going to just put it under rumour.
Rumour and speculation.
And speculation.
Which is what this show is powered by.
Of course. I mean, it's what being a fan is powered by. It's what we're all about. It's what we're all about.
You love hearing the theories.
Ever since 2012's Avengers, fans have been eager for Marvel Studios to give everyone's favourite Green Giant Rage Monster his own solo movie. Well, the second one, or the third one, I suppose.
Third one, yeah.
Mark Ruffalo has expressed interest in a solo movie, and Kevin Feige has previously said that there were some talks, but no plans. And Lou Ferrigno did say that a Hulk solo movie was coming. Now, in an interview with Digital Spy, Ruffalo said that Marvel Studios are indeed warming up to the idea. I think they are for the first time entertaining the idea. When we did the Avengers, it was basically no. And now there's some consideration, but there's still nothing definitive, not even a skeletal version of what it would be. I look forward to going down that road. If we could crack that nut, I think the Banner Hulk storyline is obviously not an easy one to crack. When a team-up movie was suggested, he responded, well, if they do Iron Man 4 and banners and that would be great. Ruffalo has also promised in the video that he's promised in the video the very cool Science Brothers scenes in the upcoming Avengers Age of Ultron, where we know Hulk has a much bigger complex role. Obviously, the Science Brothers are him and Tony Stark.
Science Bros.
Science Bros. Sorry,
Science Bros.
Science Bros. Do we want to see a Hulk? Do we want to see a Hulk solo movie?
I don't think Hulk works as a movie.
He's kind of Wolverine, isn't he?
Yeah. And that's why he worked so well in Avengers. I think that's why the two hulked both. I liked Incredible Hulk. I thought and do it the way the 70s TV show was done. Because I think that's... sad music, walking down a road, trying to hitchhike. Yeah, I think that's the only way that the Incredible Hulk works.
Okay.
Because you have him show up maybe once or twice in an episode, which wouldn't be hard to do if you had a decent budget and only 10 episodes. So what, 20 transformations? You have to have him wreck up a city. You know, like have him be there to take down a local biker gang, and you know, have him there to like fight regular crime.
Yeah, but then a lot of people said as well, why go down the whole sort of, you know, because we're going to talk about this now, about the Planet Hulk thing and everything else. It's the one that keeps getting talked about, and Kevin Feige said he'd love to try and do it as a movie and blah, blah, blah. But there were so many things set up in the Edward Norton movie.
Yeah, which
you know, like the Leader and the Abomination. And I know Abomination did get mentioned, I think, a couple of times in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
He got mentioned in the Marvel one-shot.
Yeah, but he was mentioned in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well.
He was, yeah.
You know, so he does exist, and we know that that's still... But there is a story there still to be told. You know, the Leader was very much set up as well, but it's just been forgotten about. You know, does the Leader exist somewhere now in the Marvel Universe that he hasn't been troubled yet?
Either that, or he wasn't turning into the Leader at all. He just died. He just had that stuff fall on his head, and he started to laugh because it was eating into his brain.
Okay, Mark Ruffalo now has gone on to say... right, yeah, he's been talking to MTV about the chances of Planet Hulk. And he doesn't seem to be a fan of the idea, though. Is it because Hulk is the star of the story and not Banner? Perhaps. I don't think Planet Hulk is the way to go, he says. I think you may need more Banner. The whole thing is just him as a Hulk on a planet fighting gladiators. They launch Bruce into space and they try to get rid of him, and the Hulk, he ends up freaking out, smashing a spaceship, and goes off course, smashes into a planet of gladiator creatures, falls in love, has a Hulk baby, and then the Avengers nuke the planet.
What a story!
What that'll do for me. I think they are, for the first time, entertaining the idea of it. But when we did Avengers, it was basically no, right? So this is what he said before, right? Okay, so now Netflix then caught up with the actor on set in London where they're filming Age of Ultron. It sets in motion a number of big narrative ideas that should go a long way towards setting up whatever storylines that follow in the third Thor or the third Captain America. And these movies are going to feel like the inevitable next step stories that they have to take into place. What he's saying is that Avengers Age of Ultron is going to set up so many things. There's going to be so many unresolved ideas that is going to pour into the next Captain America movie, into the next Iron Man movie, into the next Thor, which is good. That's what we want. And Joss Whedon's the man to do it. He's the man to do this. Right. It not only tells a complete story, but it also makes it fairly clear in big broad strokes that what they're going to get in future movies. Now, he was asked by Planet Hulk, and he says no, but he also said that he believes Planet Hulk fans are going to be happy with what happens at the end of Age of Ultron. Right. Now, spoilers.
Big spoilers.
Possible spoilers here, right. The site then reveals... which site was Netflix, yeah. The site then reveals some pretty big spoilers from what they've heard and seen on the set. At the end of Age of Ultron, Banner continues to play a key role in the things in the movie, and when the final act, when Ultron spills onto the battlefield and out of the virtual realm, he has a major part to play. Unfortunately, it ends with him on board a Quinjet on his way off-planet with no way to immediately turn things around. He has to ride out the trip. It's pre-programmed, and he cannot stop it. So where does the ship go? Well, here's where educated guessing comes in. The site says, I'd wager that his spaceship heads off to wherever the Guardians of the Galaxy are. And if I was a betting man, I said that there would be no Hulk solo movie as part of Phase 3, but instead Banner's ship will take him to another planet where he'll end up meeting the Guardians and having an adventure with them. Hulk will definitely come out to play a few times. I suspect we'll see some sequence that very much will feel like they're part of the Planet Hulk story, but the larger story will be about the Guardians fighting a way to get Banner home, only to end up going with him. This would also be a big piece of the puzzle of how Thanos would be looking back at Earth again for the third Avengers film. So, could this mean we see elements of Planet Hulk used in the Marvel movieverse without actually going flat out? Possibly. Either way, it's tantalising stuff to think that once Guardians hits later this year, the universe is literally Marvel's playground.
This could go one of two ways. Because obviously what they're saying there about what's going to happen at the end of Avengers Age of Ultron is pretty much the setup for Planet Hulk. Mm-hmm. So one direction could be that they do a Hulk movie. Because everybody's keen to do one. So do a Hulk movie, have him land, do the Planet Hulk storyline, but somehow retool it so that he can still become Banner.
Okay.
So have him on a planet where, they breathe oxygen. And then do that, and then at the end he flies off and crash lands in a post-credit sequence, and he's still not on Earth. Instead, he's looking up at Star-Lord.
Okay.
Or second option is they do a Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and halfway through the movie, spaceship comes out of nowhere, and it's the Hulk. And they all attack the Hulk, and there's a big battle sequence because the Hulk's freaking out because he's been trapped in this Quinjet for ages. And then he turns into Banner and has a conversation with them, and it does lead into what was saying in that story, where Bruce Banner ends up going back to Earth and brings the Guardians of the Galaxy with him, and then that would set up Avengers 3. Because obviously in Avengers 3, it's going to have to be the mother of all team-ups, where the Guardians come together with the original existing Avengers to take down a threat which is universally catastrophic, which would be Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. But I don't know, because fans are a fickle bunch. Because what could happen here is, they could be like... They could go, as you said, either one way, two ways. It could be like, oh, that's a nice nod to Planet Hulk, thank you. Or, hang on a minute, that's not Planet Hulk. That's not
They ruined Planet Hulk. They ruined the Mandarin now. They've ruined Planet Hulk.
He's brung him.
He's brung him and he's dropped him.
And that's pretty much the way we know that's how it's going to go. Fans are going to be all like, he's brung him and he's dropped him.
Well, fans are very passionate people.
Yes.
In other words, they're highly strung.
Yes.
And they want exactly what's in their head. The trouble is, a lot of the fans have different things inside their heads for what they want to see.
Exactly. Right, talk to us about Doctor Strange.
I'll talk to you right now about Doctor Strange. That's what I'll do. He's got a writer, so he does.
Yo.
Earlier this month, we got word that The Sinister and the Exorcism of Emily Rose Helmer Scott Derrickson will be directing Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange. Now, according to Deadline, John Spitz is in negotiations to rewrite the screenplay. The first draft of the script was penned by Thomas Dean Donnelly and Joshua Oppenheimer. Spates is writing Universal's The Mummy reboot, as well as The Darkest Hour and The Black Hole, but he's probably best known as the first writer of Ridley Scott's Prometheus. The trade adds that Marvel hopes to get a script and to fast-track production. The short list of candidates to play Strange are said to include Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hardy, and Jared Leto. Stanley and Steve Ditko created the character in 1963 as a brilliant neurosurgeon who, following a car accident, loses precision in his hands. His quest to regain his former skills sets Doctor Strange on a path to become the Sorcerer Supreme, the primary protector of Earth against magical and mystical threats, with powers of sorcery, mysticism, and martial arts. Although no release date for Doctor Strange has been announced, Marvel has 2 placeholder dates set for unknown projects on July 8th, 2016 and on May 5th, 2017.
Now, okay, I think we've talked already about Scott Derrickson. I think he's a good choice for this movie because he's already steeped in supernatural, scary, but complex and well.
Yeah, he'd know how to handle it.
And this is where Marvel go off the scale. They bring the dark magic into it, and they bring the devil, and they bring really supernatural stuff, which we haven't really seen yet.
But it will be teased with Scarlet Witch in Age of Ultron.
It will.
That'll be the sort of the door into Doctor Strange. You couldn't do Doctor Strange and then do Age of Ultron.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Because Marvel are very clever in that aspect. They'll slowly build, they'll tease, and then reveal.
What does pique my interest here, though, as well, is the Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hardy, and Jared Leto. Now, I have always said I don't like seeing Benedict Cumberbatch cast in anything because I like him, but it always feels like stunt casting.
Yeah.
Do you know that kind of way?
Because if he hadn't done Sherlock, he wouldn't even be considered for this role.
Exactly. But I kind of like the idea of him as Doctor Strange.
I like the idea of him more than Tom Hardy.
Yeah, because I told you before, I think Tom Hardy's a wildly overrated actor.
Yeah.
Wildly overrated.
Although, in all fairness, I've yet to see...
Although he probably wouldn't be very happy to hear me say that.
Sorry, do you have a cold or something?
Yes.
Yeah, holding your nose there. Oh no, it was Bane, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, the rain on Spain was mainly on the plane, Mr. Wade.
But I've yet to see that movie. Do you know the one where he's just driving for the entire length of the film? And
although it's supposed to be quite good.
Everyone was going, oh, it's amazing because he talks. And you can understand him. He doesn't have a mask over his face. And he's not trying to impersonate Sean Connery. But he's not... He's a big guy, and I don't think he'd fit the role.
Yeah.
I think it's someone like Benedict Cumberbatch.
This is the first role, because, Benedict Cumberbatch was going to be in Star Wars, and then he was going to be in that. This is the first time I've thought, that doesn't feel like just casting Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, it feels like that's the right guy for the job.
Because Cumberbatch, to me, was always the actor that should have been the Doctor, but now we don't want him to be the Doctor.
Yeah.
Because he has that intelligence, he has that brilliance, he has that weirdness.
Yeah.
And he has that kind of really out there. He has everything that Doctor Strange should have.
And he could pretty much play any role standing on his head.
Yes.
He could play, the cocky neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
He could play the damaged guy.
Yeah.
And he could play the hero.
Exactly. So this to me feels like a fit. Yeah. If Benedict Cumberbatch was to be in the Marvel Universe, because the other actor, of course, was Johnny Depp, and Cumberbatch, he's kind of got a Depp.
He's starting to become Depp 2.0,
do you know what I mean? He's not Johnny Depp, but he has that. He fits that role.
He has a bit of Deppness to him.
He has a bit of Deppness. He's quite a Depp.
He has something quite of the Depp.
Of the Depp. Hello, Mark. But yeah, so I like this idea.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. I think we'll move on a wee bit, will we?
Yeah, let's flip through.
With some Avengers news, this is very spoilerific. Kevin Feige, the new Avengers. Well, no, we'll just go through it, but you know what we'll do? We have, we'll see, Kevin Feige can talk about Avengers. According to Feige, new Avengers Tower is the largest ever for a Marvel film. It will feature a large landing platform and garage for the new Quinjet, with a large space that is full of windows, screens, and techno stuff, but really chic with a lab directly in the middle where Stark and Banner work together. They seem to be really going to push this idea that Stark and Banner are a team
best
now.
buds now, yeah.
Which we saw a wee bit of at the end of Iron Man 3. So I think we're really going to go with it. The Quinjet redesign features more chairs to accommodate the Avengers, much like the X-Men's Blackbird. The overall design is less military and more sleek with a bigger array of weaponry. This kind of fits into the idea that it can travel into space.
Yeah.
Black Widow's costume update will feature not only previously sported batons, but her suit is more Thrawn-like in nature, with blue lights and electricity around the suit. Her enemies will now receive electric shocks or Widow's stings when she hits them, giving her more of a superhero edge amongst her superpowered counterparts.
I like this.
Yeah?
This makes a lot more sense, because you remember whenever the shot from the Avengers trailer came out, and it was panning around them, and you had Hulk, the enormous green rage monster, you had Thor, the demigod with his hammer, and you had Captain America, super soldier, lives up to the legend, Iron Man, a man in a metallic powered suit of armor, and then you had a dude with arrows and a chick with some guns.
Yeah, I always get that feeling. But they're kind of... they're kind of the C-3PO and R2-D2 of the Avengers, aren't they, right? Because they're like, you know they shouldn't be there,
yeah,
but they're there.
Like, they would have got their ass kicked in 2 seconds.
You can empathise with them, Alien race, do you pick the hot girl with the red hair with no superpowers?
Yeah.
Let's be honest, you don't. No. But... yeah, I know, it's
like it spins around them, giving them all the hero mode, and just Hawkeye's like, got an arrow.
I've got a bow.
And then just Black Widow's like, loads of guns, and goes like, bring it on.
Yeah, like, I've got sparkly wristbands. Yeah. Okay, wow, we're now going to be done for the most sexist radio show on the planet.
Whatever.
As reported before, Ultron will be more than just a helmet with his face being articulated, including the mouth. All movements from James Spader's face are going to be used to bring personality to the villain. The suit mock-up is reminiscent of the weapon that Agent Coulson used to design Loki in Avengers, which was made from parts of the defeated destroyer in Thor. The suit, did you get that?
What?
The Coulson made was made from the destroyer?
Yeah.
Okay, I never got that.
It is, because if you look at the actual barrel of it, you see the way like the different metallic pieces are kind of like layers.
Yeah.
Then you see the red underneath. It's actually reverse engineered from the destroyer. From Thor. Yeah.
Okay, right, I didn't get that. The suit is said to have a red firelight underneath, giving a kind of Balrog effect from Lord of the Rings. Ultron will have an army of drones that are similar in appearance to himself, minus the glowing red energy effect. Similar to other reports, the Vision will be 100% Paul Bettany with his face and body in all metallic form, very shiny green, with gold, red and green, as well as a yellow cape. More corroboration about Hulk's extendable pants, dark purple in colour, that expand and shrink with his Hulk banner transitions, and will feature the Avengers A logo that adorns all the new costumes. We've seen this already on Captain America, some clips from Captain America.
Yeah, he's got the little A in the circle, yeah.
Stark will wear the Mark 43, a suit with less gold than in Iron Man 3, but still more than Avengers. The chest core reactor will be back to the circular shape, which is favoured by director Joss Whedon.
When was it not?
The triangle. I don't think
I know, but that was only in Iron Man 2 and the start of Avengers.
I don't know,
because after that, even in Iron Man 3, it's all.
Well, I think
circular.
It's just clarifying it won't be triangular.
Don't.
The Mark 44 is the Hulkbuster and will be his other suit in the film. The rumor is that he has to wear his Iron Man 43, his Mark 43.
Yeah.
To power the.
Well, that is the Hulkbuster in general in the comics. Like it's a suit that goes over.
Yeah, it's
the
a suit for the suit. Yeah. There will in fact be a party or celebratory scene that will take place early in the film, which we've heard rumours of already will be a Stark style in nature, meaning excessive and over the top. Iron Man 2, anyone? How does
I think
this
it'll
sound?
be them kind of like showing off their powers, or
kind of like in X-Men First Class.
Yeah, it would be kind of like a way to kind of reintroduce the characters.
Possibly. I don't know. It feels a bit, doesn't it?
Cheesy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, it's just waiting.
Hi Thor, I'm going to fight you because I'm drunk and I'm Captain America. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, anyway. Okay.
Yeah, just him going, put on the suit.
Yeah.
Let's go a few rounds. And Stark's like, I've had a few vodkas, let's do it.
Let's put on the suit. Destroy the tower again.
Cap, I love you, buddy, but I'm going to hit you in the face now. Anyways, no, Banner, Bruce, Dave, Bruce, hold my drink, would you? Right, let's go to town. Hey, Natasha, looking good, babe. Okay, you're looking good too. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Anyway, S.H.I.E.L.D. is to feature some more characters. With Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. becoming must-watch TV by the end of Season 1, I think that's very fair to say. And with the events of Captain America the Winter Soldier blowing the whole idea of S.H.I.E.L.D. wide open, to say that we're excited about where Season 2 could go is something of an understatement. According to the guys at Den of Geek, Jed and Joss Whedon have pitched to have characters from Avengers to guest star in Season 2 of the show. They've said the characters will be well-renowned S.H.I.E.L.D. agents already, and since Agent Sitwell and Agent Blake have both been in it already, that seems to be hinting that Hawkeye/Clint Barton and Black Widow/Natasha Romanoff may be lining up. Could this also be a good way to explain where Hawkeye was during the Winter Soldier, perhaps? Also rumoured to appear is Peggy Carter's daughter Sharon, who featured heavily in The Winter Soldier. In a similar vein, albeit reversed, Cinema Blend have confirmed that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. character Agent Antwine Triplet will appear in Avengers Age of Ultron. This is all pretty exciting, and if it all turns out to be true, it means that the Marvel Universe continues to grow with every episode and movie. Now, can we get Tommy Lee Jones in Agent Carter, please? God, yes.
Seriously, he was so good in that movie.
He was amazing.
He was so good.
There's a great scene where him and Zola have the sort of interrogation scene. You know, where he comes in
steak.
and he has the steak and he sits down and he goes, here you go, and Zola's like, what is this? Steak. What is in it? Cow. And then like you know, he goes like, oh no, I'm vegetarian. So like Tommy Lee Jones just takes it and he just starts eating it.
Yeah.
And he goes like, and like it has some great lines, you know, like, and he goes, I'm a vegetarian, I can't eat meat. And he goes, it disagrees with me. And he goes, well, how about cyanide? Does that give you a rumbly tummy too? Like everything about Tommy Lee Jones. Like, you know, if you hire a guy like Tommy Lee Jones and you put him in a movie set in the 40s about a dude who becomes a super soldier, he could phone it in.
Yeah.
But every line of dialogue that comes out of Tommy Lee Jones' mouth in that movie, you believe it.
And plus the fact, you know, Tommy Lee Jones, he's getting old. He's well on.
He's
now.
an older man now, yeah.
And his role can be just him sitting behind a desk shouting at people.
Yeah.
And that's cool. We're okay
that would
with
be
that.
Cool, yeah.
And then, of course, in Captain America Winter Soldier, where they find the original S.H.I.E.L.D. offices, you see the picture of him on the wall. He's there, and it's a nice little nod to the first movie. But to me, because that whole scene, and let's be honest, it did feel a wee bit shoehorned in there to set up Agent Carter. Mm-hmm. It felt like that. That's how it felt to me. Watching this, I was like, we're definitely getting a Carter TV series here.
Yeah. And it kind of confirmed that Tommy Lee Jones' role just didn't end with the first Avenger.
Exactly.
Like, it showed that he was involved with the SSR and the building of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well.
Yeah, exactly, because he was there. Yeah, so, but there's no reason why he can't be in every couple episodes, or, you know, because we're going to obviously get, you know, what do you call him, the played Howard? Dominic Cooper. Yeah. Because Cooper's so good as Howard Stark.
He's cracking.
Let's be honest, he's as good as
Downey Jr.
Yeah.
You
know, he's a different version, but he could be as good.
He's the it's the classic Tony Stark.
Yeah.
He's the Tony Stark from the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, and I think we need that in something like Agent Carter. We need the Han Solo character. We need the lovable rogue. And I think that's what something that, and he fits very much into that period as well. You know, with the sort of the mouthy, you know,
it's kind of like a young Hugh Hefner,
yeah,
kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
bit of Howard Hughes thrown in there as well.
So get Cooper in there, get Tommy Lee Jones in there, and that's a wonderful dynamic. You know, the young hothead, the grumpy old guy, and Carter in the middle, keeping the two in balance. And I think that could be so good. I really think that would work. Okay. More S.H.I.E.L.D. spoilers. Season 1 finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. took an unexpected turning as acting director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury left his position and appointed Phil Coulson as a successor. Now Season 2 of the series is just a few months away, and the series writers seem to have begun mapping out the story, as you can see in the teaser photo on followingthenerd.com. Director Coulson himself, Clark Gregg, has a few teasers of his own about the upcoming episodes while speaking with IGN. He asks about the type of organisation Coulson wants to build. Maybe is it an off-grid type of S.H.I.E.L.D., maybe not an officially sanctioned S.H.I.E.L.D. He says, well, that's a really interesting point, just because what's been clear to me is that Agent Coulter, who's running this new team post-Captain America, Winter Soldier, post-Hydra, post-being killed and brought back to life with something in him that he doesn't understand, he's a very different Coulson than the guy who everybody has known so far. A lot of people who knew him in the old days would say, he's different. I think you would have to be different having gone through the stuff that he has. So I think he's reinventing himself and re-understanding himself as a person anyway, which is probably really necessary to taking in the environment and figuring out what S.H.I.E.L.D. ought to be in the way that it doesn't get rotten again. On what's going on with Coulson at the very end of the season, when he gets out of bed and goes into the storage room at the playground and uses a knife to scrawl out a huge intricate design pattern on the wall, well, Coulson got to watch himself pre-memory wipe, describing what he thought the whole Tahiti project, why he thought the whole Tahiti project was a bad idea. He was talking about all the things that were happening to the people that were using it on, and while he suggested that they can why he suggested they can the whole thing. I was misreading the word can there. He looked pretty shaken while he was saying it. So I've got to expect that some of the stuff that he saw with some of those patients have some version of the stuff that's going on and going to happen to him. So we go from having no shield at all with the director on the run to a tiny gorilla shield with Agent Coulson at its head and maybe not in his own right head. That sounds fun. That sounds like an interesting season 2. And what he thinks about the decision to air Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter while S.H.I.E.L.D. is on break. Then S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back for the second half of the season. He thinks that's a great idea. I think it's the present age of TV. Nobody wants to go down 2 weeks here, 3 weeks there. I don't like it. I don't think the fans like it. It doesn't let us keep the momentum and keep the story going. It's been amazing to watch how much the show clicked into gear, first of all after the events of the Winter Soldier, but when we got the 10-season run without a break. You can download the season of so many shows on Netflix in one day. Who wants to take it a 2-week pause? I know I don't. Right, so could this whole Tahiti thing be a way of setting up villains and characters from the comics?
It could. Yeah, it could be almost like the Amazing Spider-Man has Oscorp.
Yeah.
And this Tahiti project is sort of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s kind of Hydra dark area.
Yeah.
Where all these kind of monsters and skeletons in the closet are coming back to bite them in the ass.
Is there the possibility that they're going to say that Hydra were using this to create supervillains, to create monsters?
It wouldn't go amiss because we know they do this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch, again, the first Avenger, Johann Schmidt and Zola are always tinkering and trying to find new ways of developing weaponry or stuff that will help them win.
Yeah.
So, obviously, working their way into S.H.I.E.L.D. and being able to get their hands on certain resources like Tahiti, of course they're going to start experimenting.
Yeah, no, that sort of makes sense. Right, quickly, we're going to have to speed things up here. Daredevil, Rosario Dawson has been cast in the Daredevil TV show as a dedicated young woman whose quest to heal the wounds of Hell's Kitchen brings Matt Murdock unexpectedly crashing into her life, while her own journey forever alters the course of a battle against the injustices of the broken city. She joins Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock. Did we talk about Vincent D'Onofrio being cast as Wilson
think we
Fisk?
did.
We love this idea, don't we? D'Onofrio's such a layered actor. He's so good. Yeah. Does this sound to you like Dawson is Elektra?
Is who, sorry?
Elektra.
Elektra?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I to me this sounds like she's Elektra.
I don't know.
Would we like Dawson as Elektra?
In that outfit? Yes, please.
Right.
I don't know. I'd like to see her be an original character, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe someone who's not superpowered.
Alright, okay, fair enough. Edel Henson of the Hunger Games has joined the cast of Daredevil as Matt Murdock's best friend and law partner, Foggy Nelson, who, of course, in the whole full circle thing again, was played by
Jon Favreau in the 2003 Daredevil.
Yeah, so that's an interesting piece of casting. I like that Daredevil, they're getting real actors. They are treating this even more than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, it's not just kind of like let's be honest, like a fast food TV show, like Arrow, where they just cast anyone.
Yeah,
like anyone who's who's the most beautiful actor, let's cast them in the role.
Yeah,
they're actually going out of their way to get actors with some pedigree behind them, with some weight behind them.
Yeah, because it strikes me as interesting now that the 4 main characters we know that have been cast has been Matt Murdock, Daredevil, Wilson Fisk, Kingpin. Now we've got Dawson's unknown character,
possibly Elektra,
and now we've got Foggy. Like, they're the 4 main Daredevil characters there.
But in all fairness, they've got to have some pedigree behind them because, of course, this is all part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, meaning these characters could potentially crop up in a future Avengers movie.
Yeah, I mean, like we're seeing with Antoine from S.H.I.E.L.D. that he's going to pop up in the next
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. So, yeah, is that the first crossover from the TV series? I think it is.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's the first.
Kind of really cementing that this is all part of the same universe.
Yeah, and for anybody that's not 100% sure, he was kind of the guy that took over from Wade, wasn't he?
He was.
For lack of a better term, he was the black guy in it. Because I was trying to think, who is he? And then I had to Google and I was like, oh yeah, of course I know who he is now. Right, so, okay, so that's the Daredevil. Daredevil director as well. This time not a cast member that has us excited, but Doctor Who and Luther director Farron Blackburn has confirmed via Twitter that he's going to be directing one of the episodes of Daredevil. A lot of people are thinking it's going to be the pilot episode. The Parrot? He is the guy that directed The Widow, The Doctor, The Widow and the Wardrobe Christmas episode.
One of the worst episodes of Doctor Who ever made.
Yeah, and The Rings of Akatan, which I actually really liked.
I didn't think it was bad.
I liked that episode. And while the Doctor, The Widow and the Wardrobe was pants, it looked really cool.
Yeah, it had some nice visual moments.
It suffered from script. It didn't, the problem wasn't really the direction. So he has tweeted that he's involved in that. Right, I think what we'll do is, we'll see, are we nearly... Because we've more... I think we can skip that.
Even more Marvel news?
Yeah, Milo Ventimiglia, who was in Heroes, tweeted a picture of himself last week wearing a Punisher t-shirt in the gym. Did you watch Heroes? Do you know who this is?
No.
Okay, right. Well, in Heroes, he's this very slight sort of wee guy. He was kind of the main character in Heroes.
Right.
And he was very slight and everything. He played Rocky's son in Rocky Balboa.
Rocky Balboa. Oh, yes.
Do you know the guy?
Yeah, I know him now.
And I gotta say, right, I didn't recognise him. I had to Google who is this guy.
Right.
Because he is huge.
Is he a beefcake now? Yeah.
Huge, right? He's just the guy who's just living in the gym.
Yeah.
He's a monster, and he's got a big beard and everything else. And he kind of looks the part. He looks the part. Now, whether or not there's anything to this, we don't know. There were, of course, Punisher references in All Hail the King. But what else? Interesting, Nathan Edmondon, who we're hoping to get an interview with very soon, who's the current writer on the excellent Punisher series, apparently also likes the idea, as he retweeted Milo's various tweets, even saying himself, we do know... or even saying himself that he believes that he would make a great Punisher. So there might be nothing to this. This could be, actors kind of do stuff like this. Hey, studio, look at me.
It worked with Channing Tatum.
It did.
He did was go, I want to be Gambit. I really want to be Gambit. I love Gambit. And now he's Gambit.
I could see where you were going with that. Yeah, I love Gambit. I really want to be Gambit. Now he's Wolverine. So
he's talked about Gambit. All he's done is say he loves Gambit, and now, of course, he is Doctor Doom.
Okay, we admit it. We would kill. Wouldn't we kill to have Nathan Fillion?
I'd seriously maim.
Right, okay, to have Nathan Fillion playing a big character in the Marvel movie universe, so something that we know is a rumour, but we really want it to be true. Remember at the St. Louis Comic-Con a while ago, Nathan Fillion teased that he would be in the post-credit scenes of Guardians of the Galaxy? Well... maybe there's something more to it. When Ant-Man is in a state of flux at the minute, Latino Review reckon that there'll be no hints in the post-credits of Guardians, but that it may open the door to another character popping up. They reckon that we will see Nova, Richard Rider, in the credits, and they're guessing that he's going to be played by Captain Man himself, Nathan Fillion. However, since then, James Gunn, isn't it James Gunn that's directing...
it is Guardians of the Galaxy,
He has come out and said that he is not going to be Nova, but yes, he will be in the credits. Nathan Fillion's part of the Marvel Universe! Yay! Yay! This is the best news of the week.
It is.
This is the best news of the week. But unfortunately, we don't have any idea. After the internet began to melt down after the Fillion story broke, James Gunn took to the Twitter to straighten out things or muddy the water even more, depending on your opinion. He wrote, "The rumours of my pal at Nathan Fillion playing Nova in Guardians of the Galaxy have been greatly and entirely exaggerated. Sorry, humans." James Gunn. But then he wrote, when people continued asking if Fillion was involved, he added, "Nathan Fillion has a very small and fun cameo that he did as a favour to me." So Nathan is definitely in the movie.
A lot of people are talking that he's not going to be in the movie, he's going to do voice acting.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be voicing a talking dog.
Yeah, I've heard this. It's like Cosmo or something.
Cosmo.
It's like a Russian dog. Who's like a Russian space dog or something.
Yeah.
I gotta say, he's one of the characters that I'm not really sure. But then people are saying, if they can sell Rocket Raccoon, they can sell...
a talking space dog.
And let's be honest, Nathan Fillion, he's put on a wee bit of the beef.
Yeah.
He has put on a bit of the beef. And we do love him.
He's not the ripped guy he was in Serenity.
Yeah, in Serenity he was on top of his game and everything else. But having said that, we've seen it with actors, a couple of weeks in the gym, strict diet. Mm-hmm. Although Fillion hasn't done that because we've seen it recently and he still loves the buns.
And to our listeners living outside the UK, that means he likes eating pastry.
He likes eating. But you know what, Nathan, if you're listening to this show, don't take us as a slight. We love your work.
If you're listening to this show, we just died.
Yes.
Please come on.
You're right up there. Nerd God. Okay?
Yeah.
You're right up there, sir.
Yes.
Right, okay, well, we take... How much Marvel news have we left?
So much.
No, Marvel.
X-Men stuff and...
Right, James Gunn has hinted at the Celestials. Because did you see the last Guardians of the Galaxy trailer?
No. Yes, I did,
wonderful. But you see a big like robotic floating head.
I haven't done that thing. You know where you watch a trailer and you click your mouse and keep pausing it every second?
Right, well...
I haven't done that.
There's a bit where you see it, and it looks like an asteroid just floating in space, but if you actually look at it, it's a head.
Okay.
And it's hinting at the Celestials. Our characters to some degree have superpowers, but at the same time they're just ordinary citizens of the galaxy. They just happen to be renegades, says Gunn, but they're basically bikers. They're just these ordinary citizens who get caught up in this big thing because they want money in the beginning. But there's completely cosmic overtones. There are characters like Thanos involved, and when these characters who are bigger than that, suddenly the mortals are playing in the field of the gods, and I always think that's a really interesting thing. Characters bigger than Thanos. So, right. People are speculating that the floating head is the head of one of the Celestials. In the comics, the Celestials are like this ancient race of aliens that basically created life in the universe. Okay. They're gods. They're basically the god figure in the Marvel universe. And people are reckoning that that's what that... Because they look like robots. They kind of look like giant robots, and that's what that head is in the trailer. And it's definitely there. So he's hinting at that. Kelsey Grammer?
Yeah, wants to play Beast again. If you haven't seen X-Men Days of Future Past, I will be spoiling a minor cameo. Although, let's be honest, we knew this was going to come. When the casting news for X-Men Days of Future Past started to come in, it quickly became evident what director Bryan Singer's plan was. It was to be the biggest movie in the franchise that would involve nearly every actor who had ever appeared in one of the main X-Men films. We've heard about cameo rumours, and toward the end of the film we finally saw them. One such actor was Kelsey Grammer, who played Beast in 2006's X-Men The Last Stand. Collider caught up with the actor at the Transformers Age of Extinction set and asked how the cameo came about. Actually, I called Brian. I bumped into Hugh Jackman and he said, "Oh, you're going to be in another X-Men, mate." And I said, "No, I'm not. I don't know anything about it." So I made a couple of inquiries, got a hold of the script, found out that it's primarily dealing with the past, and that timeline I don't have a place in. But I saw that at the end there was this coda where he made an appearance. I said, "Listen, I really want to be involved." So Brian arranged it, and I had a lovely time. The actor added that he hopes it wasn't for the last time. I hope to do another. I hope they find some way to come up with a new story that involves Beast in my timeline.
Fair enough. I don't really have anything to add to that. I mean, it was nice to see him in the movie. And
do you know actually what I was watching today? The original 1994 X-Men animated series.
Right, okay.
And Beast was heavily involved in it. And looking at it, Kelsey Grammer was an excellent choice to play Beast.
Okay.
I think it really works. I'd love to see him again, perhaps directed by Bryan Singer as Beast, like perhaps even in Apocalypse.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Because I liked him. I thought that he was one of the best things in X-Men 3, and for the brief couple of seconds that he's in Days of Future Past, yeah, I liked him. So yeah.
You liked him saying his one line in Days of Future Past?
Yeah. That's it, scolding Wolverine.
Oh God, the way he walked down that corridor
he's just so good.
Just threw out a one-liner.
No,
past
what
Wolverine.
I mean was, it was like, there's Kelsey
there
Grammer
he is.
again.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But what I did miss was January Jones in her rather revealing Emma Frost outfits. Back in the room.
Yes, anyway.
Rumour control, this is the facts. Remember a while back it was confirmed that X-Men Apocalypse would take place in the 80s? Well, it seems that the upcoming X-Men Apocalypse will actually be a prequel to the original movie. In an interview with the Q&A podcast about X-Men Days of Future Past, writer Simon Kinberg stated that the next movie will take place in 1983, 10 years after Days of Future Past. It has already been confirmed that Cyclops, Jean Grey and Storm will appear, with rumours that Gambit and possibly Nightcrawler will also be featured.
I like this idea. I like that it's going 10 years at a time.
Okay.
Because obviously First Class was set in 62. It's kind of 11 years after. And then now we're flashing forward another 10 years with 83.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think, did anything happen? I haven't actually looked into this, but did anything devastating happen in 83 that Apocalypse could have caused? You know, in the X-Men take real events.
When was Chernobyl? That was 86, wasn't it?
I think it was 86. I can't think of anything that happened in 83. But I'm sure that I'll not worry about that too much, since it's about a giant alien wrecking the world. I'm not going to be looking for factual points.
Yeah, true.
Winter Soldier?
Winter Soldier wants to be Cap. At the Wizard World Philadelphia Comic Con the past weekend, Sebastian Stan was asked if he would like to take over Captain America's shield one day. The actor, who was in both Captain America films, did not try to hide his eagerness. "Yes, yeah, I'll do it right now. Look, it's not up to me. I'm just showing up when they're calling me. It means that's it. But I wouldn't mind a little Black Widow / Winter Soldier story happening." I bet you wouldn't.
Bet you wouldn't.
Easy. We know that Chris Evans has 2 more films under contract after Avengers Age of Ultron, and that Stan has a 9-film deal, of which he's done 2. This could potentially open the door for Winter Soldier to take on the title of Captain America, like in the Death of Captain America storyline. Personally, I hope Cap makes his last stand against Thanos, buying the Avengers time by wielding Mjolnir. Bucky can take over after that. Captain America 3 is set to be released on May 6th, 2016. I like that idea. I like Captain America going out against Thanos holding Mjolnir. Because he's one of the people who's worthy enough to hold it.
Okay.
That's cool. I like that.
Right, okay, I think it's got to that time. That's the end of the Marvel news. Good lord.
Ooh.
I think we're going to start having to do a Marvel podcast.
Yeah, with special guest star Kevin Feige.
I wish. Right. That's the Skype sign.
That was Kevin Feige training his guns on us. What's this about too much Marvel news? He's got a helicarrier above our heads.
Right, let's see if we can't get Stuart Miller on the phone.
Hello.
Hello, Stuart. How are you?
Hey.
I'm good, thank you. You?
Not too bad. Not too bad. What's happening? What's the happy haps?
I'm surprised you never, when you were talking about Star Wars, never picked up on the fact that Andy Serkis is supposed to have got a role in the film in Episode 7.
Yeah, but should we know that? That's
that was announced ages ago.
The Serkis was in that photograph.
Yeah, but he's using his Imaginarium company, and so he might obviously be doing sort of like a character which is very akin to like a Godzilla kind of thing, so motion capture rather than actually being in the film itself.
At the risk of being a dick, can I say this? I never reported on this because I took this as a given, because Andy Serkis is always not a real thing.
Yeah, but he does pop up in the films, so it was because he is going to be in Ages of Ultron as well.
I know, but he's got a face that only a mother could love. Let's be honest.
That's charming. Because he's working alongside Mark Ruffalo with his movements with the Hulk in Age of Ultron to be a bit more human-like, and he did announce the fact that he has got a role in the film as well. So he's supposed to play a human role in Ages of Ultron rather than a CGI character.
All right, fair enough.
Have you seen the film Audition or heard of the film Audition?
Yes, it's getting a remake. Is that right?
Yeah, the Takeshi Miike film. Yeah, it's getting a remake by an Australian director who's going to be taking the original source material, so the book, which Takeshi Miike just threw out the window and just went with his own way. And this Australian director is remaking it, and it's much darker than the original film itself. So
it can't be darker than the original movie.
Yeah, it is much darker. There is supposed to be more violence in it. Miike supposedly toned it down a little bit, and this is coming from Miike because he did Ichi the Killer, one of the most insane films ever created.
Yeah. Saxon, have you ever seen Audition?
I've never heard of this before.
You've never... Audition is one of the most gloriously over-the-top, violent, unpleasant, unsettling, but quite brilliant movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, I will never forget the scene where the camera is outside the porch and the foot just hits the window.
Yep.
It's a wonderful scene.
It's from an insane director because he did do a movie called The Happiness of the Katakuris about a cannibal family, which is a musical.
That's right.
It was billed as The Sound of Music with cannibals.
Yeah, yeah. What's that to love?
Yeah, so he's an insane director. War Games remake.
Yes. Talk to us about it. What do we know? I've seen this. I don't really know much about it.
Ansel Elgort is supposedly rumoured to be playing the lead role in it. He's in the new film The Fault in Our Stars, and he was also in Divergent. He's supposedly rumoured to be playing the lead role in War Games.
Okay.
And I don't know if you were going to comment on Shane Black doing the Predator sequel.
Yes. What can you leave us some stories for after you get off the radio? Yes. No. Let's talk about that because I had actually on my notes I called it Predator Gate. Because it was announced last week that Shane Black was rebooting Predator, and of course the internet went into meltdown, and then I think it was the day later, or a couple of days later, Black came out and says, no, it's a sequel, it picks up after Predators. But of course Shane Black was the man where it all started.
Yeah.
So even if it had been a reboot, I think I still would have been happy that it was in Shane Black's hands.
Yeah, I'm glad that he is continuing it on because I thought Predator, the Robert Rodriguez one, was all right.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything special, but it wasn't the car crash that you would normally expect with a reboot in a franchise. You look at what happened with Paul W.S. Anderson, who did Alien vs. Predator, trying to make it feel slightly different. And it was nice for Robert Rodriguez to understand the initial material of Predator and Predator 2. It was more like Predator mixed with Predator 2 rather than being a standalone Predator movie, but Shane Black's involvement in it's going full circle again, and with him saying it's going to be a sequel rather than a reboot, it's a good thing, I think.
I mean, Predator's one of those things, you don't have to reboot it, because it's just, it's always different people. It's a different alien, it's different people, but it's in the same universe. And it doesn't need to be, how do you even reboot something that is different every time out anyway?
It would still just feel like a sequel.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Alien as well. Alien has never been given a reboot.
Yeah, because you can run with that story, and you can, so maybe what he's saying, is that nothing has changed. It's the same thing, but it's going to be different characters and a different alien. I liked Predators, Stuart. I agree with you. I actually remember I watched it one night on TV. My wife was working late, and I sat in the living room. The kids were in bed. I put it on, and I had an absolute ball with it. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Because Robert Rodriguez, he didn't direct it, he produced it because it was directed by, I can't remember his name, he's done lots of the Friday the 13th and things like that, but it wasn't directed by him, but he understood the material of it, rather than Paul W.S. Anderson, who didn't understand an Alien film or a Predator film, let alone mashing them together.
Well, in fairness, as bad as Aliens vs. Predator was, and I actually liked some parts of Aliens vs. Predator, as bad as it was nowhere near the absolute car crash that the next one was, Requiem.
Yeah, well, that was directed by the special effects artist.
Nimrod Antal.
That's it, Nimrod Antal. Yeah, but Alien vs. Predator 2 Requiem was directed by the special effects guys who worked on Alien vs. Predator. So,
and it was just a terrible movie.
Yeah, and
it was nasty.
The problem was you couldn't even see anything.
Yeah, it was Aliens vs. Predator versus Hollyoaks.
Yeah, it was. Although I have to be honest with you, I did laugh at the bit where the two stoner kids got killed.
Yeah.
Because they had the guns, they didn't want to have the guns, and the Predator just destroyed the two of them. It did make me chuckle. But yeah, no, so a Predator reboot, we were going to talk about that later on, Stuart. I'm happy for there to be more Predator movies, and as you said, Shane Black, he did great things with Iron Man 3. I kind of fell away from the Iron Man 3 fold. I've fallen back into it again. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Lethal Weapon, Predator. You can't argue with that sort of pedigree.
Yeah. And he wrote the Monster Squad, which I love the Monster Squad.
So good. So good. Big part of my childhood. Haven't seen it
again,
in years,
another film that's rumoured to be getting a remake.
Yeah. Actually, that's one of those movies I must sit down with my wee fella. My son is at me constantly now to let him watch Big Trouble in Little China. And you know what? You know what? China is here. I don't even know what the hell that means, but I think I'm going to sit down and watch it with my kid. Because go ahead, Stuart.
The Monster Squad is a 15, so is Big Trouble in Little China, so...
I know, but to be honest with you, I was a kid when I watched those movies.
That's only a recommended age rating, come on.
I know.
But, look at 15s now. 15s now, can have really gory deaths in them, they can have, very explicit sex scenes, the language can be brutal. Big Trouble in Little China doesn't have any of that. It has, I think it has a couple of bad words in it, and there's the scene where the skeletons are floating in the hell of upside down drowning.
Yeah.
But overall, because I watched it on a Friday night again without my kids, and I think my son would dig it, and I don't think anybody's going to call social services if I say I'm going to sit down and watch this with him.
It would have gotten a 12 if it was released now.
Yeah, at the most, at the absolute most, to be honest with you. Because if you look at things like Super 8 and stuff, which was, what was it? Was it a 12A or a PG?
Yes,
it was 12A. And there's a couple of bits in Super 8 were pretty scary.
Yeah.
And I think I would be more comfortable letting him watch Big Trouble than I would be watching Super 8. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah.
Because Big Trouble
Look at the Hunger Games. Look at the extreme scenes in the Hunger Games as well. That's a 12 pushing into a 15.
Exactly. And what was I remember going to see something. I was going to take him to see something recently that was a 12. What was it? I remember coming out of it and saying to my wife, I'm so glad I didn't take him to see that.
I remember you saying this to me.
Yeah.
What movie was that?
I can't remember, because I remember it was really, really hardcore for a 12s. But yeah, so I think things were different in the past. I mean, like even Terminator. Look at Terminator. Do you think with Terminator being 18s now?
Mainly just because Linda Hamilton gets her boobs out. But
yeah, for like
that would
2
be
seconds.
Like a 15.
Yeah. And I mean, there's nothing even really
gory about it.
No, but the bit where he cuts his eye.
And he cuts his arm and you see the pistons underneath.
Yeah.
Like, but even... because they've aged now, I think you would get away with it being like maybe a 12A, 15 at a push.
Yeah, because it doesn't look so. But anyway, okay, right, so moving on, Stuart, what else is happening?
Well, I would just go on to the UK box office top 10 before I actually pinch any more of your news stories.
Yep, right.
At number 10, it's Jersey Boys.
Yeah, it's directed by Clint Eastwood and it centres around the 4 seasons. It's just it is a musical in a way. But it's not for, say, fans who absolutely love these kind of musicals. It's more of a drama, a bit just exploring their life about how they grew up, and then there are few little musical numbers here and there. So if you don't like musicals, then it's fine for you. If you're interested in that kind of era, the 40s and 50s kind of music, then it's interesting as well. It's directed quite well, it's acted quite well, and it looks the part. It looks like a movie from that era.
At 9, Edge of Tomorrow.
I was reading up on the fact that the director, he initially wanted the ending of the film to be much more darker than what it was. Mm-hmm. He wanted Tom Cruise's character to actually die, properly, literally die in at the end of the film, rather than the way it actually plays out. But Cruise thought it was a bit of a bad idea to do that, because he would have expected the film to be given a 15 with the way the director wanted to end the film.
That's what it was.
Done as well at the box office.
Sorry, it was Edge of Tomorrow. It was Edge of Tomorrow. He really wanted to see it based on the trailers, and I don't think he would be ready to see it.
Yeah, just because of the amount of horrific ways that Tom Cruise dies.
Yeah, I know the bit where he burns to death.
Yeah. And the aliens as well.
Yeah,
the design of the aliens.
That's the one. That's what it actually was.
Mm.
It would have been a slightly different film, tonally wise, and I think the ending, a lot of people would have been much more forgiving if it did went down the route that the director wanted rather than what Tom Cruise wanted.
I really think the ending was just an audience ending. I think it was just test screened and people thought, no, it's too dark, like this. Yeah. So they reshot the bit where he finds Emily Blunt.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I do think so.
In at 8, it's X-Men, Days of Future Past.
Yeah, it's the first X-Men to actually take more than a Spider-Man film at the UK box office.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
At 7, it's our first new entry of the week, Walking on Sunshine. Whoa!
Whoa!
And don't it feel good?
No, it doesn't. Because what you do is you take Mamma Mia, take out all the ABBA songs, replace it with songs from the 80s, and get some girl who was really good on the X Factor about 10 years ago and make her the lead, and she can't sing in the film.
I saw the trailer for this. It looks as dour as all good holy hell.
Yeah.
What a lovely voice.
It looks so sweet, even gingerbread men would throw up.
I think I just got diabetes.
In my pants. In at 6, it's another new entry. How to Train Your Dragon, number 2.
It's sort of a new entry. The only reason why it's in the chart is because it was released in Scotland and Ireland officially on Friday just gone. In the UK, it doesn't get officially released until the 11th of July. Now, in England and Wales, we have preview weekends, the weekend just gone and the weekend coming up. So the takings from them will not be included until the week after the 11th of July. So when I do the box office, it will be the week ending on the 14th of July. So that's when the takings from England and Wales will be included in this lot. So I expect it to be in the top 10 for quite a few weeks because it's a staggered release. It's very strangely released.
Okay.
I've seen the film.
I think I got it, but just in case,
do the whole thing
again.
No. I've seen the film and it's fantastic.
Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing this.
I've heard a lot of good things
loved it. I saw it in 3D, and the 3D is not. It doesn't do anything to the film, but it doesn't distract you from the film itself. It's quite dark for a kids' animated film, which is what I liked about it, rather than doing what a lot of kids' animated films do. So the Despicable Me's, things like that, where it's always bright, colourful. You've got the Minion-esque kind of characters. They provide all the humour, and then you've got the story rolling through the film itself. This has hints of humour, but it follows a more darker tone with the character played by Jay Baruchel, who does Hiccup, the voice of Hiccup, meeting his mother in the film itself, and it gets a more darker tone with the bad guy as well. And so there is some interesting elements in the film itself which you would not expect to see in an animated film outside of inside of America, because normally you would get this from, say, like a Studio Ghibli kind of movie, but not for an American film. And I loved it because of that, because it didn't talk down to children. It's beautifully animated. I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. Best animation film this year. Better than Lego Movie.
Oh, bold words.
Right, okay.
It's another new entry at 5. Chef.
Yeah, it's just Jon Favreau calling in just lots of favours from loads of different actors to be in his film, to pop up in his film in little tiny roles here and there. Robert Downey Jr. appears in the film, Scarlett Johansson's in the movie, etc. And it's just about a guy who's down on his luck. He gets fired from his job at a restaurant. He then gets a food truck, and he decides to go across America with this food truck. And it's just exploring his relationship with him and his son. And it's actually quite well made. There's some really decent humour in the film. The acting's really good as well, especially from Jon Favreau.
At 4, it's Maleficent.
One-dimensional film with very good acting from Angelina Jolie.
At 3, it's 22 Jump Street.
Absolutely hilarious. I laughed out loud. Surprise, me laughing out loud. But I laughed numerous amount of times during this film. It's on par with the first one, 21 Jump Street. It takes the mickey out of itself. It knows that it's a sequel, and constantly during the movie it just relies on that. It's by the people who did the Lego movie and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs too, and I think they loved the fact that they could get away from the kids' humour and go back to adult humour, and the jokes are really funny. The chemistry between Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum is just fantastic. They're a really good double act.
Coming in at second place, it's The Fault in Our Stars.
Yeah, it's starring Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort, and it's just about two people who have cancer, and the fact that during the movie themselves they go from a friendship to a relationship, and it's very well acted, it's very well shot. There is a few moments in the movie where it gets a bit saccharine. However, it doesn't. It tries not to go to that elements, the saccharine elements, with it involving such a tragic subject with cancer. It's actually made me cry twice.
Awkward.
I know. So I've laughed in the top 10, I've cried in the top 10, and I've loved an animated film better than the Lego movie.
Wow, a whole roller coaster of emotions.
That's
there.
a triple whammy for you.
Oh.
Easy.
Excuse me.
And our final new entry of the week is also our number 1 top spot. It's Mrs. Brown's Boys, the movie.
Please make it stop. Just make it stop.
Why the TV? Feel?
Yeah. How do you think I feel?
Yeah, this represents Ireland to the rest of the UK, nay, the world.
Yeah, I would feel really ashamed.
Yeah,
because
sorry, sure, I'm hearing it's truly awful. I have no intention of going to see this.
Absolute tripe.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. I've seen the trailers, and it just looks so bad.
Yeah, no, it looks terrible.
Yeah, it took more than the In-Betweeners movie in its opening weekend. It's actually one of the highest grossing TV movies, so movies based on a TV program.
This is up there with the likes of Keith Lemon, the film, for just sheer awfulness.
Yeah, there's a sequel of that coming out at the end of the year.
Oh, Jesus, no.
They're making another Keith Lemon movie.
Yeah.
Where did they get the money from?
But the worst thing is, you've got a load of these movies which are based on British TV programs that are coming out. Pudgy the Dog, the movie.
Oh, God, yeah, I've seen the trailer for that.
It's from the director of Horrid Henry, and that was bad enough.
Doesn't the dog talk or something?
Yeah, David Williams is the voice of Pudsey the dog.
Lord, why? I'll have to check my Nostradamus, but I think this is one of the harbingers of the apocalypse.
Okay, so, right, Stuart, moving on to next week, what have we got to look forward to this week coming?
Well, it's a bit of a strange week, to be honest, because Transformers Age of Extinction next Thursday. So it has previews from Saturday onwards, so it will not be in the box office top 10 next week because they're only preview takings. It will be in the box office top 10 the week after that, the same week as How to Train Your Dragon 2. Yeah, again, it hurt my head when I was writing up the post on the UK box office top 10 on the site, because I had to send you a second draft of it because I typed up the first draft at work and it hurt my head so much I had to have a nap.
Was that why you sent me the email? I didn't understand it. It was just like, oh my God, it's so awful, it's so horrible, don't use that one.
Yeah, I read through it and I was thinking, what was I doing? Was I drunk or something when I wrote that? But yeah, it's a really confusing thing what they've decided to do with the releases of both Transformers and How to Train Your Dragon 2. It's really strange. So this week you've only got a couple of films. You've got Tammy, which is Melissa McCarthy's latest film.
Enough said.
Yay.
Yeah, enough said. And just a small British science fiction film called The Anomaly. But that's about it.
Okay. What about Transformers? We're hearing terrible things.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet because I'm waiting for it to be shown in cinemas, and I'm going to see it in 3D on Saturday. 3 hours of a 3D film. My head is going to really hurt.
Yeah, I mean, because one of the things that really impressed me about Dark of the Moon was the 3D. The 3D was fantastic in Dark of the Moon. So I'm looking forward to seeing. You know what? I know. There's so much hate, and there's so many people saying it's awful and terrible and blah 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 blah. I'm looking forward to seeing it. You know, yeah. I know what I'm getting.
It's just what Michael Beer has turned around and says, why would you go see my film if you hate it already? Yeah. What would be the point? It's exactly right. Why would you go to see the film if you hate it? And my excuse is I'm reviewing it, so I have to go and see it.
Yeah.
I've heard that this movie is sort of the best because it finally does what we thought Dark of the Moon was going to do. It actually goes so far and uses so many cliches and so many Michael Bayisms that it reaches the point of no return and goes past it and enters into parody territory.
Yeah.
It actually goes so far that it begins to mock the franchise, almost to the level of, like 21 Jump Street or 22 Jump Street, where it almost becomes self-aware.
Yeah.
Like, so...
The Transformers have become self-aware.
Yeah, it's actually reached the stage where now we've got Mark Wahlberg.
There's no scene at the end of this movie because Michael Bay is kind of saying that once the credits roll, he is done with Transformers. That's him.
He said that Dark of the Moon, though?
No, but
he said that Revenge
this
of
is
the
even the
though.
producer now is saying that this
is
it.
Lorenzo di Bonaventura?
I think it is Bonaventura. Yeah. And he's saying that no, that Michael Bay is done. That's it. There will not be another Michael Bay's Transformers movie.
Even though they're talking about the fifth one and supposedly they're trying to get it released for 2016.
Oh no, they are making the fifth one.
And a sixth
one. They're
actually
going to speak with Bay a few weeks after the film is released on an idea for the next one in 2016.
Well, what he was saying was that they have an idea. What they're looking for in the next director is somebody who's a bit younger and who was a fan of the original series, the original Generation 1 Transformers. Now, to me, that's interesting because I'm wondering if they've kind of went, you know what, the fans, all right, the movie's making big money, nobody's warming to these movies. Is it time to get a wee bit more on board with the original source material? I have no problem with the Transformers movies because they're not Generation 1, they're not Beast Wars, they're a different take on Transformers.
It's the same as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that's coming out in August. It's going to be its own thing.
You can shout and scream all you want, but it doesn't diminish what went before. It's a different thing. But it was interesting he was saying that they're looking for somebody this time out that knows their Transformers, is into it.
As long as they don't do what they're doing with Turtles and get Jonathan Liebesman to direct it, because Jonathan Liebesman is the director of the Turtles film. When people keep on constantly saying it's Michael Bay, he's producing it, and it's a Michael Bay Presents.
Yeah.
It is actually directed by Jonathan Liebesman, who did Battle Alea.
Yeah.
And who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning as well. So it is by him. So I hope they don't just go, he's worked with Michael Bay before, we'll just get him to do it instead.
Talking about talking about Ninja Turtles, Stuart, just before we let you go, have you been following the whole Shredder thing on Turtles?
I've seen the trailers of it, and he looks like completely over the top kind of thing, Shredder.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Shredder thing looks ridiculous, and it's interesting as well to note that in the trailer he is actually called a robot, which is some people wondering if that's not actually a costume, if that is some sort of like Shredder robot. But what I'm talking about is, the whole thing where everybody was really annoyed because Fitcher, what's Fitcher's first name? That's playing Shredder.
Well, is it?
No, my mind's gone blank. Is it David Fitcher? No, the actor that's playing Shredder.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, okay, the whole thing is because he's not Japanese. He's not, he's not the real. He can't be Shredder, right? But in the trailer, there's a brief clip in the trailer where you see
Robert Fischer.
Is it okay?
William
Fischer.
I said
Fischer.
Will.
Okay. Where he says to this shadowy character, "I'm taking your armor and we're going to upgrade it." And if you pause on that scene and if you enhance the image, the actor that he's talking to looks a hell of a lot like Mark Dacascos, which has got a lot of people wondering if that's the real Shredder, if the whole William Fischer thing is just like a plot of the movie, but he's not really Shredder.
Maybe.
What do you think? Could that happen?
Yeah, it could happen, because if you look at Shredder in the trailer itself and you look at William Fichtner, it's a bit of a, not sure about that. So they could go down that route. If that's the case, I do hope that it has gone down that, and it is a robot rather than just the proper Shredder. because that just looks like a mutated version of Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, I mean,
Shredder,
and the
it's
fact
ridiculous.
that it's firing blades out and stuff as well. That being said, I like the trailer. I think the trailer is pretty good, and I like the dialogue between the turtles. It feels right.
The only thing that surprised me in the trailer was the fact that I didn't even know Whoopi Goldberg was in the film. And she popped up in the trailer. I just didn't know that. As soon as she popped up, I went, Whoopi Goldberg's in the movie?
Yeah, no, I was the same. But I like this idea. Mark Dacascos would be a good choice for the Shredder.
Maybe. I'm not a fan of him because I don't like the kind of stuff that he's done.
Yeah, okay.
But as long as he doesn't have to speak or properly act, then it's fine.
No, well, he'd be in armour with blades beating up rats and turtles. So, but yeah, which sort of says it all. Okay, Stuart, for anybody that's listening to the show right now that wants to check out your podcast every week, the really great podcast that you guys do, yourself and Andy every week, where's the best place to get you?
Followmenerd.com or mondaymovieshow.co.uk.
Alright, as always, Stuart, it's been a blast. Thank you very much for talking.
You're welcome.
And until next Thursday night, may the force be with you.
I'll catch you next Thursday night.
Take care, my friend.
Bye.
Farewell.
Bye-bye.
Everyone, this is Phil Wills from Following the Nerd, and I'm here with Richard Hurd, the wonderful legends from such TV shows as Classic V and also from Star Trek Voyager. Richard, it's a pleasure to talk to you here today at MCM Comic Con Belfast. How are you?
Well, I'm fine. It's a pleasure to see you, and it's good to be amongst so many. I've made a lot of my pals that I don't see that often, but you were talking about V, and V, I have very fond memories. That was 1982. And I had the pleasure of working with my old pal from New York. We did theater together, Andrew Prine, Faye Grant, Mark Singer, whom I still see, and, of course, Jane Badler, who was Miss New Hampshire, who went down to Australia, met a great guy, got married, has a couple of kids, and, of course, Kenny Johnson, who wrote the show. A lot of people may not know, but V got the highest numbers that NBC ever got. They got a 35 share. And at that time, I was coming to New York. I was going to be doing a Clifford Odets play, The Big Knife. Mm-hmm. And I remember looking up a person pointing to me and saying, and way, way up, there I was about 50 feet high on this moving screen in Times Square. So it was an historical moment to do a 10-hour miniseries. And Ken, they didn't take his script for the new series, which was a big mistake. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. His idea was to bring in Mark and Jane. Mm-hmm. And that would have brought in the original crowd of people from the 80s that watched V, which would have helped the new series. And they brought them in later, and they were going to bring several of us back.
Well, Mark Singer appeared very, very briefly, and it was like a teaser sort of thing on it. But what strikes me out the most about the original V, and of course V, the final battle, was the writing. I mean, the writing was very, very poignant.
Well, but you have to realize, writing was the whole thing then, writing and plot and the actors, because there were no special effects, there was no digitalization. I mean, it was just people talking. We started off with a little sound in the throat and the little ray gun, but we got rid of the sound and got rid of the ray gun because actually at that time it was making the budget too costly. Mm-hmm. So they dealt with the actors and they dealt with plot and people talking to each other. These days, it's all special effects. Everybody seems in a rush. It's all heavy-gear music, and it was a pleasure doing V. And as you say, it's become a legend.
Well, I mean, your character, John, the leader, one of the most iconic scenes ever, probably in 1980s television or any television, is literally the unmasking live on the show.
I call that the great rip-off. We were very fortunate. That took 3.5 hours of makeup to do, and I had to be measured for a full contact lens. And they built a thing up around my hairline, so when they ripped off the latex to reveal the reptile, it was 3.5 hours makeup. And Faye Grant, she was the one that ripped it off. Yeah. And we were fortunate; they had 3 cameras, and we got it in one take.
Brilliant.
Because if there had been a mistake, or if it hadn't ripped off properly, they would have lost a whole morning. Mm-hmm. Because then, the 3 hours of preparation, I had to have gone back. It takes an hour to get it off. Yeah. and then it was another 3 hours. So we would have lost a whole half day.
Yeah.
So we were very fortunate to get the first time around.
But that just proves to you the professionalism, not only the actors, but also the crew. They were able to capture it.
Oh, no, the crew, to me, you don't realize the contribution, and especially for an actor, because if you're in the theater, you're used to dealing with people, and you find that the crew becomes the audience for you in many ways. And, as an actor, you can go lie down, rest of it. But with the crew, it's cumulative exhaustion. Yeah. And we always make it up on a Friday night. Anything we didn't... So you can come in... I know, like when I was doing makeup on their liqueur on Next Generation, I would come in for a 4 o'clock makeup call to be on the set, let's say 7:30. Well, the crew came in, and on a Friday, we would come in I would get there about 3:30, 4, and I wouldn't get out to maybe 11, 12, or 1 o'clock at night. Right. Because then my turnaround was 52 hours, so they couldn't have me back. But the crew had an ordinary turnaround, so they get cumulative exhaustion. And maybe I'm on the show 2 or 3 weeks. The crew's there, for 30, 40 weeks. So any of you that are former crew members, ADs, directors, or lighting directors, my very, very best and my great thanks to your wizardly work. And then after that, liqueur. I went in and I auditioned. I had always wanted to do a Star Trek. And I was fortunate to get the role of liqueur. And I was fortunate to work with an old pal of mine who was the makeup man on Ike the Warriors. I did with Bobby Duvall, Mike Westmore. And we also did a feature together called Fist with Sylvester Stallone.
Yes.
So Mike created all that makeup for me, which included getting the teeth, getting the hair. And I worked with Michael Dorn. It was a pleasure to work with Michael, and a splendid cast. And the tough thing about it, I had to learn to sing a song in Klingonese. And I had a specialist that helped me. But that was the toughest thing. But, also the wardrobe. You had to have an acting background in the theater because the wardrobe was a little heavier.
Yeah.
And so you had to carry yourself. If you're a warrior, you can't come stumping in. Not in a swaggerly or an egotistical way, but you had to learn to carry yourself.
But your whole posture as a Klingon was superb. I mean, you're saying
you have to have that. They're warriors. And the actors today, they act from the neck down. And they don't understand that not only when you're not too obviously having good posture, but diaphragmatically it helps your voice. Well, and they whisper a lot. And you can whisper, but your whisper can be heard if it has support. But this, you can't hear them.
I'm just smiling at the way you're acting right now. It's just bringing me back so many memories from my childhood. Just when you're mentioning about Star Trek, you're also Admiral Paris in Star Trek Voyager, which was a wonderful. It was great to see you back in science fiction.
Robert Duncan McNeil. My only thing on the final episode there, I had so much fun on that show with Dwight Schultz and the various directors and the people we had there, and also Robert. I didn't have an opportunity to say welcome home, son. I tell you that Kate is so wonderful. What is that show? Black is the New Orange?
Yes, that's right. Black's the New.
Have you seen it?
Well, it's just been aired on the second season. It's just been aired on Netflix. But the first season now it's going on television now. No, she's also a wonderful voice artist as well.
Well, not only that, she did Katharine Hepburn as a one-woman show. I did Cecil B. DeMille as a one-man show. But I didn't recognize her right away. We binged because somebody said it was a good show. Well, we watched 2, and then we had to watch another, and then the next night we had to watch 2 more. And I said, "Oh my God!" Because I had missed the heading. That's Kate. She was so good. God, it's so. I miss the other one. I miss binging on. I don't want to watch a football thing all the time. It was called Friday Night Lights.
Right.
And I got onto that and I binged on it.
Your body of work has been incredible. I mean, television, films, and theater.
I'm very, very grateful, and I want to let anybody know, anybody out there that's interested in my profession, you have to realize that you have to, Henry Irving, the great actor, said, you have to be willing to starve, and you have to be totally obsessed totally obsessed, because if you're not, you can waste your entire life and nothing can happen. Now, I was fortunate because when I came to New York, there was plenty of work, and things weren't so expensive. You could afford to live there. And you have so many people coming out of Northwestern, coming out of Juilliard, coming out of Yale. So the competition for the work is just incredible. You have to get the best training you can. You have to take dance. You have to study voice, enunciation. You have to go get a good, reputable teacher. No matter where you are in America, make sure you check the references on that director's resume and make sure that he has a New York background or a Chicago background or a Seattle background, or Los Angeles even, but make sure that they've done theater work and maybe they have a good university background, because there are a lot of people out there that are just shamming away at people and taking their money, and they can't help you at all. Don't let anybody sell you a promo, charge you $500 or $1,000, because an agent will not look at it. So you have to be very, very careful. And I also, the waitress jobs, you have to do those, busboy. And I remember I went to bartending school, so I could work at night. I learned how to be a bartender, and I had all my days free to look for work, because your job as an actor is to get a job. But you really have, forget this movie star crap. Get a good theatrical background, and it'll support you for the rest of your life. And you'll be able to get, when you go into an audition for a play, you'll get it. When you go on an audition for television or a film, you'll get it. But as soon as you walk into the room, if you don't have any technique or any background, you're not going to get it. So you have to study. Even if you only study a year or two, and don't get crazy that you got to go to LA, go to New York, go to Seattle, go to Chicago, because you'll do 4 or 5 plays, you'll have a resume, and when you come to New York or LA, they'll see that you've worked as an actor, and that you're not some Dumbo that just wants to be a movie star. God bless you all. It was a pleasure being on the program, and I wish you nothing but success, but you have to work.
Thank you so much indeed. Thanks. Hi everyone, this is Phil Wilkes once again for Following the Nerd. I'm here at MCM Comic Con Belfast with a legend that is Hattie Herridge, who is wonderful Holly and Red Dwarf. Hattie, how are you?
I'm alright, thank you. Good to be here.
Brilliant. I know you're very, very busy today, and thank you so much for taking some time out to talk to us. First off, female Holly, Red Dwarf, wonderful cult television series. Can I ask, first off, how did you get the part for Holly?
I was originally Hilly in one episode in the end of Series 2 in Parallel Universe, and I got that part. I was only meant to be doing that one appearance. I got that part because they saw me on Friday Night Live, the comedy show, and they were looking for a female Norman Lovett because it was a parallel universe and everybody had a female equivalent. So they saw me, and I'd had a review that said I was like a female Norman Lovett. So they put the two together and got me into that episode. So that was the end of Series 2. I thought, that's the end of Red Dwarf, being in the Red Dwarf universe. That was brilliant, and that'll be the highlight of my life type thing. And then in between Series 2 and 3, for various reasons, it didn't work out with Norman. So they were looking around for a new Holly. So I didn't get it automatically. I went for an audition, and I had to read a bit of script from backwards. And they gave me it, they said, can you read this? So I read it and I laughed, and then he went, yeah, can you read it out loud? And because I was kind of a bit, I thought, yeah, I think we found our Holly. So I got it.
Well, that's no problem. Listen, thank you very much indeed for taking some time out today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks.
Peter Stormare has been cast in the new series of Arrow.
Yay!
Love Peter Stormare. He's going to play Vertigo, because Count Vertigo has been in Arrow already. Sorry, Saxon, spoilers. He was killed, but he's back. Right. He's back as a different character, because in New 52, apparently Vertigo was a different character than he was pre-New 52, so they're going to do that with Arrow. But Peter Stormare, he's a legend. He's a legend. He's a legend. Where'd you find this gringo?
Speaking of which, there's a lot of casting news that have come out for Batman. Or sorry, should I say Arrow?
Arrow, yeah.
According to Dark Horizons, the Arrowcast is set to get even bigger with 4 characters, 2 from the flashbacks, which are Toshi and Akiko, and 2 from the present, Daniel and Seth. We'll keep you posted as we hear more, but apparently Daniel is a high-profile young tech entrepreneur with a tragic past, and he will become a tech-powered superhero and a love interest for Felicity. Seth is a recurring character, an educated criminal who develops a drug that drains the willpower of his enemies. Toshi and Akiko are a married couple and skilled operatives who become Oliver's handlers in Hong Kong and become his friend and teacher. Apparently as well, Devon Aoki from Sin City and Too Fast, Too Furious will be playing Katana in the series. And Katana, of course, was Batman's sidekick in the short-lived Beware the Batman TV series. Further proof that Arrow is pretty much Batman, only he fires arrows.
Yeah, I mean, in the comics she runs with Batman for quite a while as part of the Outsiders. So yeah, I mean, this is just another... I love Arrow. I do love Arrow, but it's Batman. It's Batman.
It's just Batman.
And all the characters are Batman.
I love Devon Aoki as well, especially in Sin City.
Yeah,
she's a great little actress.
And she's that amazing sort of ugly beautiful as well, which is, she's a really exotic looking character.
Ugly beautiful.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Do you know, she's not typically beautiful.
She's gorgeous, but you don't know why.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. And essentially the character she played in Sin City will be the character she plays in Arrow.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's just the same thing. Speaking of which, we've got some release dates. The CW has fully revealed their full schedule, and The Flash will premiere on Tuesday, October 7th at 8 p.m, with Arrow premiering on Wednesday, October 8th at 8 p.m.
Why could they not just have done them both the same night? I mean, that's a night in, right?
Just sort of double bill.
At 8, on the CW.
At 8, followed by an all-new Arrow.
yeah. I want that. And it would give you that sort of Buffy and Angel opportunity as well, where something might happen in one that picks up in the next.
That is exactly what television has been missing. A crossover series.
Like in one episode, Felicity picks up the phone to talk to Barry, and then
in the second episode, you hear the other half
on
of
the
that
phone.
call.
Do you know, just little things. Little things.
And if you start with the season 3 premiere of Arrow first, and then you have the pilot for The Flash, then you could have, that fully sort of handover scene.
Exactly.
Where Arrow's on the rooftop talking to Barry.
Yeah. And even if they do it the next night, it's still, even if you do watch it the night before, there is always the chance that you might miss it.
Yeah.
But if you're basically sitting watching it like a 2-hour movie, you're going to catch the little references. We'll see. Arrow Season 3. Yeah, okay, yesterday we reported, Katana has been cast. Today we have the casting of Oliver's handler, who happens to be Katana's husband. TVLine.com reports that Carl Yoon, who, if you go to followthenerd.com, there's a picture of him with Hugh Jackman, has been cast as Masio Yamashiro, and he'll serve as handler to Oliver in the flashbacks, but also slowly will become a teacher and a friend. To all the DC fans out there, you may be getting a feeling of deja vu when you see the name in recent DC Comics, aka the New 52. Katana is a warrior for revenge after the loss of her husband, Masio. She believes that all of her heart, that his spirit now lives within her sword, and is on a mission of vengeance to kill the ones who took her husband from her. Will this be an honestly situation where past and present collide? Well, we'll find out in October 8th.
Yes, it will.
I don't really want... I like the idea of Katana. I don't want her to be this season's Huntress.
Yeah.
Do you know? I don't want that. I mean, I would rather her be a character who fought with Oliver years ago, who's going to fight with Oliver again. I want that dynamic.
But you do know, like with Devon Aoki, she is going to be showing up both in the flashbacks and in the current narrative as well.
Yeah, there'll be that thing where they show this big meaningful scene that happened 5 years before, and then she'll step out of the shadows.
Yeah.
Because
like, who could this mysterious character be?
Yes.
Oh,
but
wait,
let's show you this unrelated scene from 4 years ago with this character you've never met before.
Yeah. Arrow for me is summed up perfectly by Black Canary's reveal.
Yeah.
Where a blonde chick takes off her blonde wig to reveal that she's a blonde chick.
I know. Only Arrow. Only Arrow. And it's just so preposterous. But it's wonderful. It's wonderful TV.
You can't stop watching it.
It's so good. It's so good. Now, I call this Momoa Gate.
Do you now?
I do. Okay. Here's the thing, right? Jason Momoa has been cast as Aquaman.
Yeah. You know it. I know it.
The whole world knows it.
Yeah.
But nobody's told Jason Momoa.
No.
Right? And not only that...
Plausible deniability.
Not only that, it doesn't really appear like he wants to play him. So what's going on? Okay, because he has been... I mean, Variety's reported it, the New York Times have reported it, the Hollywood Reporter's reported it,
and most importantly, we've reported it.
Every website on the planet, every tabloid, every daily, every trade have all said Jason Momoa confirmed as Aquaman. Momoa's like,
if you look at the actual pictures that your little girl brings home from school, all done in crayon, if you turn that over, on the back written in crayon is Jason Momoa is Aquaman.
She took me a picture home the other day of this guy in an orange outfit, and she went, Daddy, look, Jason Momoa as Aquaman, right? Because...
And the teacher written, very good picture of Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa as Aquaman, right? Because... And Jason Momoa's like,
I don't like it.
Because nobody's told Jason Momoa, right? But yeah, so... For a man who's not playing a role, he's doing a hell of a lot of talking about it.
Yeah.
Because he was on the Jimmy Kimmel show and he said he can never see himself in tights and stuff. Fair enough.
Right.
And he says, oh God, more Jason Momoa. Right. So everybody but Momoa seems to know he's Aquaman and Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. And he's been talking to comicbook.com about the role that he isn't playing and about how he would love to play it if he was playing it, but we don't think that he is really playing it, but he might be. Right, okay, so he says, I've always talked about, what's your favourite? I mean, I love Lobo, so I just don't really see myself as a superhero. Yeah, no, I mean, they're kind of written a little different. I don't know. I seem to think of myself, and I can't think of myself in tights a lot, and I'm more of an anti-hero, if you will, in real life, so not that smiling, parading to saving the world kind of guy. Yeah, the Hulk would have been fun. What? Random.
This sounds like a press release he's been given that he's seriously messed up.
He's got 3 press releases. He's got the I am playing Aquaman and the I'm not playing Aquaman, and he's like, the worlds have collided.
Have you ever seen that joke in Family Guy about the boxer who's taken too many hits? And he keeps trying to talk, and he says, yes, well, the eventual outcome of the result will be something that Watermelon put the pancake through the bread bin. Like he's just mixing it all up, and he can't talk.
His head's just gonna go, and that'll be it. Because he knows he's Aquaman, but he can't tell anybody. And he's got to the point now where even he doesn't think he wants to play it.
I'm just imagining all, the DC, press people running up to him going, okay, Jason, you can say this, but you can't deny this, but you can also say this. And he's looking at them going, what?
Yeah, no, they've put him on stage and they've went, you're about to tell the world you're Aquaman. And the minute he sits his arse in the chair, they're screaming down his ear, saying, No, you don't even mention Aquaman. And he's sitting going,
and he's already started talking.
It's already out, the story's out. And then he's like, I'd love to play Hulk. And everybody's like, what?
But you just said you were going to be Aquaman.
Mark Ruffalo's the Hulk.
What are you talking about?
So
madness.
So I don't know. Yeah, so he's not really the Aquaman, but he probably is, and he definitely will be. But apparently the story is that in Batman vs Superman, Aquaman is out for Superman as well to get him, because do you remember when the world, what did you call the big
world machine, the terraformer?
Yeah, it landed in the Indian Ocean. Mm-hmm. That basically got Aquaman's back up. And he's gunning for Kryptonians because of this.
Fair enough.
So
what you should take away from this story is that Jason Momoa is playing Nathan Fillion, who will be playing Nova in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right, can we just have another Nathan Fillion rumour? But here's the thing, he does say that he wants to play him as an anti-hero. I could actually see Aquaman being an anti-hero in this.
Yeah.
Because he's going to come out of the water, he's going to be really pissed off, and he's going to come gunning for Superman.
Yeah. So and if you actually think about it, Aquaman, even though he takes a few knocks for being like a guy who just talks to fish, he controls the ocean.
He's virtually a god.
Well, he is a god. He's essentially Neptune.
Yeah. Do you think, could this tie in as well to this whole thing that we've been hearing, that they may sort of try and say that anybody on Earth with superpowers is like descendants of Kryptonians?
Mm.
I know a lot of the purists have said, it doesn't work. I think that works.
Because we know the Kryptonians have visited Earth 20,000 years ago.
Yeah, and they gave us the antipods, and they gave it,
And it could trickle down through the generations to the point where you reach Wonder Woman, where you reach Aquaman.
I like that idea, because it gives this whole idea of otherworldly power, and it kind of explains it. Yeah. Why are the Amazonians so strong? Why are the people that live under the water, why are they so strong? Why can they?
Why do they live underwater?
Why can they live underwater? Because they're part alien.
Yeah.
So I like that idea. I think that works.
Let's talk about her.
Luther Hargate.
Luther Hargate, yes. Well, after all the will Lex be bald and Batman v Superman talk, it looks like the answer is not at the start of the movie. Anyway, Batman News have the scoop on what Jesse Eisenberg's Lex will look like. Lex Corp scenes were filmed over the past couple of weeks, and a source tells Batman News that Eisenberg has a lot of hair. It's not Eisenberg's typical curly look. It's a bit longer, kind of loose and wavy, and it's dirty blonde. Do you think they're going for a fifth estate sort of
Yeah.
thing with the way Cumberbatch looked.
Yeah.
What do you call you, man? The WikiLeaks guy.
In real life?
Yeah.
Oh, Assange, Julian Assange.
Julian Assange. Think they're going for Julian Assange
Yeah,
sort of look with him?
I
right?
think so.
Right, fair enough. Yeah, more info on LexCorp as well, which apparently is effing awesome. There's a basketball court in the lobby with a giant 30-foot neon LexCorp Industries design. It's pretty much Google, isn't it?
It is Google.
One final thing, remember a while back there were rumours that Holly Hunter was set to play a Leslie Tompkins type. Well, apparently she's actually playing a US Senator, so no Baldy Flute at the start of the movie. How's this sit with you guys? How's this sit with you?
I'm okay with it.
Doesn't really matter, does it?
No, I mean, but what they're not saying is you could see Luther at the beginning of the movie, and at some point, because even Smallville
exposure to kryptonite
explained why he lost his hair and how,
Yeah.
And Luther wasn't always bald in the comics. If
No.
you remember, Luther used to have really thick red hair, and the bald Luther is a relatively new thing.
Yeah.
So they're not. It's not as if they're just like they're ripping my childhood. No, they're not.
Right.
No, they're not. It's just a different Luthor.
Right, well, we may now have some more details on the character of Metropolis's greatest mind, aka Lex Luthor. Comicbook.com claims that they have someone on the film who's close to the filming going on in Detroit. You're going to hate this guy. You're going to root for him to be punched by Soups when he weasels his way out of legal trouble. He's cocky and confident because he is that good at what he does. He's a billionaire who knows he is more powerful than the senator and congressman visiting because he's a billionaire. This is a high-tech mega-billion company with a shiny veneer. It's Apple/Google, colourful and consumer-friendly public image, but serious potential for Lex's deviousness. An IMDb user has claimed Lex has a super modern, hip Facebook/Google style office with a basketball court, pinball tables, blah blah blah, the stuff we just talked about. Everyone looks ultra douchey and has bow ties and blazers. Lex is introduced in which he takes a basketball shot, and in the same motion, after draining the shot, turns around and shakes Sanders' hand, who's there to greet him. He looks like Kurt Cobain and is a complete douche. We're mildly concerned at the cheesy intro of the character, but this is all still just a rumour. Now, for the really interesting piece of possible casting news, Comicbook.com are claiming that the Wolverine actress Tayo Okamoto will play Lex's henchwoman assistant/assassin Mercy. We do like this idea, as Mercy has always been one of our favourites here at FTN, but what do you guys think about Lex? Do you think the lady below, or posted at FTN.com, could be Luthor's most trusted assistant?
Yes, she certainly looks the part. She's beautiful, she's dangerous looking. She was one of the best things about Wolverine, so I like that. And Mercy's a great character if they do her right.
Who was she in Wolverine?
She was basically the love interest. She was Wolverine's, remember the Silver Samurai's daughter character?
Oh yeah,
she was basically her.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I mean, she's a really beautiful looking woman, and you can see her as the character of Mercy. Mercy's just such a complex character, and yeah, there's other rumours as well that tie in that Mercy is a big part of the story. So I think there's a lot to this. That basketball, he dunks at basketball and he turns around. That sounds horribly cliched.
But I think it would work.
Maybe it'll work. Right, okay, so there's a solo DC Batman movie coming, perhaps, thanks to Latino Review. We have the first rumoured DC film for 2019, which is a solo Batman movie starring Ben Affleck, and which the title is rumoured to be The Batman. The site points out that Affleck will write, direct, and star in Live by Night in the summer of 2015. That film will release on October 7, 2016, and frees up plenty of time for the studio to develop the script and get going on production. There's also the possibility that Affleck could direct. So what do you think? I mean, I think it's only a matter of time. We're going to see another solo Superman movie. We will see a solo Batman movie. I don't think I think that's probably going to happen.
It is definitely going to happen. Yeah.
Harry Potter?
Yeah, Harry Potter's going to be Robin.
Yuck.
Right, okay.
No, he's not going to be Robin.
So it's been a slow news weekend, apparently, but it seems that Harry Potter himself, actor Daniel Radcliffe, wants to avenge Gotham as Batman's sidekick Robin. And in fairness, who doesn't? In an interview with BuzzFeed Brews, the actor was... Is that supposed to be news?
Probably.
BuzzFeed Brews? That's class. Let's copyright that. The actor was asked if he would want to get into another franchise after Harry Potter, and he said he would. When probed about what franchise, he said he would like to be Robin to Ben Affleck's Batman. Never going to happen. Now, we don't believe there's anything to this, but given the early reports had Nightwing reportedly playing a big part in the new Batman movie, we reckon he might just be the right age, but that's all we got. Still, it couldn't be any worse than Chris O'Donnell, right? I didn't mind Chris O'Donnell.
Really?
I didn't mind him.
What madness is this?
I didn't think he was awful.
What madness is this?
What are you talking about?
He was terrible.
Yes, but he was in a movie where they had a bad credit card.
No, but
Come on,
he was
take
in
it
Batman Forever as well, and he was awful in that.
Take it in context.
I know. Okay, Flash cameo. Has the Flash scene for Batman vs Superman already been filmed? Reports are coming in that yes, he's in it, but if you blink, you'll miss him. The guys at the Daily Superhero have a full report. The scene is a robbery, and security cameras inside the store were used for the scene. During a convenience store robbery, a sudden flash of wind is seen in the security camera footage and revealed to be a cameo tease for the Flash. The site's insider said he was assured it's not Superman, but Barry Allen, aka Flash, and the scene will appear at some point in Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. Batman News reported that a scene was filmed on May 15th in a convenience store, which is pictured at followingnerd.com. City manager Linda Vall said that the Lakeview Market in Keygore Harbour, MI, was selected for the scene. The store was prepped on May 14th. The scene was shot on the morning of May 15th. To keep things quiet, only a select number of people knew that the Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice film was taking place. We had a couple of extra police officers over that way to keep traffic moving and for crowd control, Vol said. I didn't even tell the police until I needed them. This could be a clever way. I like this. I think what they're going to do is, in like a news report in the background.
Yeah, and you'll just see the kind of whoosh of the bank.
Yeah, it was kind of like, remember in Superman Superman Returns, where you hear Gotham talked about in the news and stuff in the background, but it's not. I like that. I think, and again, that's a clever way of setting up things to come.
Mm-hmm. Do you want some Wonder Woman details?
Always.
Everyone does. Everyone wants Wonder Woman's details. The Batman v Superman news is really hunting up now as filming is well underway and SDCC approaches. The latest news is revolving around Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Joe Blow published the Blow video, which is obviously at followingnerd.com, and in it is a lot of news from a source about Wonder Woman in the movie, although it's still a rumour until confirmed. The video claims that Gadot will be in the movie a lot, but as Diana Prince, with her Wonder Woman reveal coming near the end when a big villain is revealed, possibly involving Luthor. That will take the combined power of Batman, Superman and Wonder Woman to stop. This is rumored to be Doomsday, but we're thinking this is unlikely. Her purpose is to set up the idea that there are superheroes out there other than Superman. Her costume will be a blue leather skirt, silver gauntlets, tiara, although the red star could be gone, and red bodice. She will have a sword, a spear, the golden lasso, and a shield which she straps to her back like Captain America.
Everybody say it with me now.
I can't do that, but right. I agree. On Batman, it claims that he is a veteran crime fighter who will stop at nothing to get the job done.
Except killing.
Indeed. He and Superman see eye to eye on very little, like killing, and clash consistently throughout the movie. Bruce Wayne lives in a house on the Wayne estate. Wayne Manor is there too. There is a Batcave. But Lex Luthor hates Superman with a vengeance. Luthor believes he is the perfect human, and Superman's godlike presence makes him feel inferior, leading to him hating him with a passion. Finally, via Twitter, Latino Reviews El Mayimbe is saying that there will be a clip from Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice revealed at SDCC, but no trailer yet.
Sticking with Batman and Superman, according to Deadline, Scoot McNairy will play an unspecified role in Zack Snyder's upcoming Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. Isn't he the guy that was in Hail to the King? The interviewer?
Was he?
I'm almost sure that was him. Scoot McNairy is actually already part of the Marvel... Sorry, how you go?
There we go.
As he starred in all Hail to the King, right, blah, blah, blah. Right, the trade as, though nobody at Warner will confirm it or tell us what his role is. Who do you think he is? Jimmy Olsen, Barry Allen, Dick Grayson? You know what? He could be Nightwing. He has that look. He's a good actor. He's a very physical sort of actor. I could see him in that kind of role. Okay. We will see.
Meet Superman in Gotham.
This went online today. Have you seen it?
Oh God, yes.
It's great though, right?
It's so cool. A few days ago, we got a first look at Henry Cavill as Clark Kent in a pick for the Royal Marines Charitable Trust Fund. And now, however, we get a better image this time of him as Superman himself and standing on a rooftop in what has to be Gotham, thanks to USA Today.
It has to be Gotham because it's raining. It always rains in Gotham.
It is.
It's what it does.
It's grey. It's dull.
It's grey.
It's overcast.
It's dark, and it's raining. It's Gotham.
Yeah. Snyder also talked a little about the movie and where it finds Superman, really digging in and evolving the character, both as Clark and as Superman. It is a challenge, but there's also the fun of trying to figure out what to put in front of him that's difficult. Cavill is definitely more comfortable in the role the second time around. We both created this guy, and we can push him around a little bit. The more time I spend with Henry, the more he's Superman to me. On the debut of Batman, the director said that instead of using several movies to define Affleck's Batman, the character's 75-year mythology is so deep in culture now that they can just jump to an older, road-weary take on the Dark Knight, which is good, I agree with that. Plus, he says it's cooler to see a crusty old Batman beating the snot out of guys. On the much-pondered V over versus debate, he adds, but suffice it to say, there is a V in between their names. Having the V instead of versus is a way to keep it from being a straight versus movie, even in the most subtle way.
Do you think he means by that they're going to more not like each other than be beating stuffing out of each other?
It's more of a rivalry?
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. He's only filmed a couple of scenes with the two in it, and he says it's never really been done. It's kind of cool. He confirms Gal Gadot hasn't filmed scenes as Wonder Woman yet, but she's working out and getting buff and ripped. He sums the movie up before the end by saying, you can talk all you want about other superhero movies, but it's Batman and Superman. Let's just be honest, Snyder says. I don't know how you get bigger than that. Then why didn't they just call it Batman and Superman? What the hell? Or World's Finest? It's hard to argue. Man of Steel was all about Superman finding his place in the world as both a hero and as a man, ultimately saving the city of Metropolis from certain doom while smashing it up at the same time. Dawn of Justice continues to immerse him on Earth by working at the Daily Planet as Clark Kent along with Lois Lane, Amy Adams and Perry White, Lawrence Fishburne, but also takes him to new environments such as Gotham City and introduces larger threats including Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg. So this is building the universe. It's tying it together.
Very much so.
Using Man of Steel as a jumping off point.
Very much so. And before we went on, if you go to followthenerd.com, there's a story in the night about rumoured villains that will be appearing in the movie as well. Minor villains. With the rumours that apparently Metallo and Joker aren't going to be in the movie, but Batman will, early on in the movie, beat Victor Zsasz, who is a great character. And he actually appeared briefly in Batman Begins as well. He was the one that the Scarecrow got off. Remember, he was at court at the start in the movie. He gets one of the henchmen off.
Yes,
that's Victor Zsasz. And he in the comics, he's a very powerful character. He can hypnotize people. He can make them see what he wants you to see, and then he lures people and kills them. And he basically eats parts of them.
Right.
And his body's covered in tallies that he etches in every time he kills somebody. He cuts in a little notch into his body. But he's a really scary, really dark character. But the rumour is that we'll see him early on in the movie. It'll basically just be, it'll come in as Batman beats the stuff out of him and fires him into Arkham, and that's sort of where it'll pick up. So I like that idea as well. Right, Freeze is coming to Gotham. More info has come out about the upcoming Gotham series, detailing Batman's origins in the Western world's most violent city. Director Danny Canham is the man who put together the much anticipated pilot. He spoke to Hitfix about the films the production team looked at for inspiration when creating the modern Gotham. Essentially, he's creating New York that has continued to get worse at the end of the 70s, much like Demolition Man showed in 1996, where the LA riots never stopped. Cannon stated in the interview, "It's scary. I was on something, and Brunner Heller, show creator, was on something, and we met at a Thanksgiving, and he just pitched the story, and we'd gone very well and instantly knew what we needed as a visual partner. We talked on Thanksgiving that morning extensively about where it took place. I had not heard the pitch, and I did not know what was in his head, but instantly I knew, and we shared this. Thank God. I've watched Serpico again when I heard the concept and the French Connection, the Warriors, instead of New York had not been gentrified, if there's no Koch, if there's no Bloomberg, if there's no Giuliani, and New York had just spiraled downwards after 1979. We were very interested in that. That was Gotham Dust. It was like a romantic version. When I visited New York and Bruno visited New York, we wanted to go to that place. Cannon also revealed a very interesting point about the upcoming series. He's fighting to get Mr. Freeze. I have a big pitch with Bruno about Mr. Freeze, and whose origins are uncertain. If I could get Jeff Johns over and I can win Bruno over, then I look forward to the moment where we get that character realised. Hopefully the character will be more animated series and much less Arnold Schwarzenegger. Gotham arrives later this fall. Right, okay, I know you said not to mention this, but I'm only going to mention it because Carol Kane is such a great actress, and I love Carol Kane, probably best known as the fairy from Scrooged.
Yeah.
And she is actually going to play the Penguin's mother.
The hit me with a toaster.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to slap them in the face. Right, so yeah.
Yeah, so the Constantine pilot was aired?
No, it
was
leaked online.
It was leaked online?
So was The Flash. Not that any of us at FTN have watched either of those.
Oh, God, no.
They're both very good. But we haven't watched them.
Yeah. Well, apparently reaction to Constantine was quite high, but one thing he didn't do is smoke, and apparently that's just because you can't do that on major network TV. That's got some people kind of angry.
Yeah. Ironically, this is by the same people who make Hannibal, in which he kills people and eats them and serves them to other people and kills people in the most brutal, horrific ways.
But God forbid anyone smokes.
Yeah, and I mean, Constantine's about demon possession and child sacrifice and all this stuff, and that's all okay. But don't smoke.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the thing. Right, we'll see. What else have we got? Angry Birds Transformers does exactly what it says in the tin. There's going to be toys, there's going to be games. It's Angry Birds, Star Wars, only this time Transformers.
Another TV news. Danger Mouse returns.
He's the greatest. He's fantastic. Wherever there is danger, he'll be there. And have
Danger
you
Mouse.
Have
you seen Danger Mouse. Danger Mouse.
Have you seen Danger Mouse?
I have.
Looks good. looks good. Love the original series. Bit worried about this update, but you know what? Let's go with it.
The animation does look quite similar, though.
It does, yeah, and Penfold looks spot on. Crumbs, Chief. But yeah, okay, Heroes gets his first returning cast member. We talked earlier on about this. Heroes was lost on you?
I couldn't get into it.
Really? Okay. The first season was great. After that, it was pants. According to Deadline, Jack Coleman, who played Noah Bennett, a.k.a. the man in the horn-rimmed glasses, a.k.a. HRG, will return in NBC's 13-episode miniseries, Heroes Reborn. Coleman is the first actor to sign on to the 2015 show from Heroes creator Tim Kring. His character was a former agent with the company, and his father, the cheerleader Clara Bennett, Save the Cheerleader, Save the World, played by Hayden Panettiere. Started off as a recurring character and was promoted to a series regular midway through the first season. Yeah, I mean, he was a great character, and it's really, really good to see him back. Okay.
In other news, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the CG animated television series, has had a 20-episode order for Series 4. It's set to premiere in fall of 2015. That's ahead of the Season 3 premiere this fall. They've also got some new voice actors beginning Season 3. Seth Green from Robot Chicken will join the voice cast as Leonardo, alongside Sean Astin from Lord of the Rings as Raphael, Rob Paulson from Planet Sheen as Donatello, Greg Sipes, Teen Titans as Michelangelo, Mae Whitman from Parenthood as April O'Neil, Hoon Lee from Royal Pains as Master Splinter, and Kevin Michael Richardson, Penguins of Madagascar, as Shredder. Josh Peck from Drake and Josh as Casey Jones, and Corey Feldman from The Goonies reoccurs as Slash. The series is executive produced by Hiro Neal, or whatever. Yeah, so
if you're not watching Ninja Turtles, are you watching Ninja Turtles? It's so good.
It's great.
It's really funny. It's really smart. It's beautifully animated. It ticks all the boxes. It's really, really good. Right, we've got a big piece on Game of Thrones. Basically, it talks about what they're going to do in Season 5. It does confirm that the producers know what the outcome of the Game of Thrones is going to be. There has been some worry that basically they're going to run out of... that the TV series is going to get so advanced before the books come out that they may have to end themselves based on what George R. R. Martin has told them about how the books are going to end. So there is that. But, I mean, Game of Thrones so far, Season 4, I haven't actually started watching it yet. I'm still trying to make my way through the first 3 seasons to catch up for Season 4. It's phenomenal TV. It really, really is. And I just think it's going to be one of those series that gets better and better, and it will run. And if they can keep this level up, then bring it on.
Fair dues. Again, the show we'll have to get into. We talked earlier tonight about the new Doctor Who trailer, the Am I a Good Man trailer. But we also have a bit of cast news as well, as actress Michelle Gomez from Bad Education and Green Wing has joined the series as the gatekeeper of the Nether Sphere. Are you the gatekeeper?
Got to get these two together.
I think it'll be extraordinarily bad. We have no idea either, but we do know we love Gomez, who does for crazy what Stonehenge did for rocks. According to the BBC, Stephen Moffat said, "I've known Michelle for years and I'm thrilled to welcome her to Doctor Who. She's everything we need. Brilliant, Scottish, and a tiny bit satanic." Right? The official Doctor Who Facebook page has released the image, which is on following.com, of the actress on set with new Dr. Peter Capaldi and a lot of Cybermen. Have you seen the picture? It looks like she's taking a selfie.
Yeah.
I thought that was class.
Yeah.
But first, let me take a selfie.
Yeah, I love Michelle Gomez. I do. I mean, she's mental. She's just pure mental.
A pure bag of cats.
She is completely, and I can't wait to see what she does in Doctor Who. And I really, please let her be recurring. Let's have some recurring characters this season.
And Doctor Who, of course, returns to screens in the UK and US on August 23rd, and I personally cannot wait.
Sherlock is back.
Yay!
Yay! Sherlock, you tease. Has ever a series left this audience, wanting more as much as Sherlock? We'll be back, they tell us each season. We just don't know when. Well, John Watson himself, Martin Freeman, has been chatting to the Telegraph about when we might see him and Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock back on our screens. And speaking of message here, he said, "If this was New Labour, I get fired. I think that I might be for Christmas 2015, a Christmas special. That's what I understand." He also said filming would likely be early 2015 due to his schedule, Benedict Cumberbatch's schedule, and producer Stephen Moffat's Doctor Who schedule. We can confirm, though, that Mary Hannah Abington is on the show for the foreseeable future. Now, that was during the week. Since then, yesterday, late last night, I think it was, it has been confirmed that there is going to be a one-off special late in 2015, followed by another 3-episode season. So this is good. I mean, the last season didn't blow me away, but the tease of Moriarty at the end was great. And obviously the special is going to be them going toe-to-toe with Moriarty again. Where the series goes after that, I leave up to you. So yeah, but really, really good. Movie news?
Yep, movie news. Resident Evil 6 has the title. Hooray! Yay!
still making these movies?
We've known for some time now that Resident Evil 6 would be the last movie in the franchise that Paul W.S. Anderson plans to do, so it's fitting that the next film is tentatively titled Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. How original.
I know. If ever a series took a serious downturn, I mean, I like the first one, I like the third one, the rest of them are pants.
Yeah.
Right, Max Landis, the screenwriter of Chronicle, has denied being involved in Ghostbusters 3. Amid a lot of rumours that he was drafted in to do the rewrites, and that's the bare bones of this. And that's the bare bones of the story. But he does. Have you read this?
I have.
He does.
I love this idea.
Great idea for a Ghostbusters 3 opener. Landis tweeted, "Hey guys, it pains me to say this, but you know, I pride myself on being a straight up person. Zero truth to the Ghostbusters reports. But thanks to Dark Horizons, we've learned that Landis had a great idea and a thread for the third Ghostbusters that went something like this. My Ghostbusters 3 began in the 1920s with Ivo Shandor. Of course, anybody who remembers their Ghostbusters will know that Ivo Shandor is the one that built the temple and the coming of Gozer and blah, blah, blah.
Let me guess. Gozer worshippers.
No studying. With Ivo Shandor murdering a gluttonous associate to protect his cult after he has a moral objection. Shandor tells the overweight man that nothing can stop the coming of Gozer. First, the gate will open in 1984, and then again 20 years later, which is where Ghostbusters 3 will pick up. The fat man, who now knows all the details of Shandor's plan, threatens to go to the police, and Shandor poisons him. It's scary, but as Shandor escapes, we see that we're in the Sedgwick Hotel, and the guy we just saw die is Slimer. Cue the theme, cue the titles. I love it! I love it! And not only that, it means that Slimer could be a big part of the story.
He could indeed,
because Slimer holds the secret to what Shandor is all about. I love that. I think it's so good. I have no idea how they develop it, but it's really good. In the vein of the video game 5 years ago, all threads seems related in the Ghostbusters universe. I love this.
Whoa. Lois, this is not my Batman glass. But seriously, it's been 5 years since the Ghostbusters video game came out.
I know.
I am so old.
That's this week's...
What?
5 years.
5 years since the Ghostbusters video game came out.
Okay.
Ron Perlman's been fighting for Hellboy 3.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, we love Guillermo Del Toro, and we really love Hellboy, so it goes without saying that Hellboy 3 is the top of our must-get-made list, and it looks like we aren't the only ones battling for it. Ron Perlman has been chatting about the chances of himself and Del Toro getting the final Hellboy movie off the ground over at CBM, and while he admits it's an uphill struggle, he confirms that there is an ending laid out, and he's fighting every day for it. I'd like to finish it. I'd like for there to be a third film, because the first two films were set up for this huge resolve, and he, with Del Toro, already understands what the resolve will look like. He never gave me the nuts and bolts of it, but he gave me a rather broad stroke sketch of what the third film would look like, and it's so epic and so deserved by the fans that hung in there for the first two that I really feel as though it's essential that we make it, so I fight for it every day.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And there's a video on followthenerd.com, but it's basically just what
and like the ending of Hellboy 2 just sets it up.
I know.
So well.
Well, we'll talk a wee bit about Pacific Rim, but you know what? I wouldn't rule this movie out. What I would be concerned about is that Ron Perlman, he looks like he's getting too old to be putting on that suit again.
Especially with all the prosthetics as well.
I mean, that's going to be a heavy suit to work through.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I think the guy's dedicated. I think he'd hit the gym, he'd do it.
Yeah, funny because I watched him last night in Blade 2. He's so good.
He's great, isn't he?
He's so
now you have
good.
an explosive device taped to the back of your head.
Can you blush? It's so good. I mean, and even that bit, you know, as my daddy always said, if you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. Just before he killed my mama. Right, other new. Scott Derrickson is rebooting The Outer Limits. He's not happy with Doctor Strange. He's going to be doing The Outer Limits. Vin Diesel is getting it tough on the set of Fantastic Fast and Furious 7. It's a movie that we in FTN can't wait to see.
Is this still filming?
Yes.
Is this still ongoing?
It must be nearly finished because, well, we'll talk about why in a minute. Rumours are circulating that Diesel has been is having serious issues focusing on his work on the movie, with many speculating that it's because Walker is dead and they are currently shooting scenes with Walker's character, Brian O'Connor, and it's being done via CGI in the Stand 15. You know, I love The Rock. I love The Rock, and the picture that he posted with James Wan is unbelievable. Because James Wan's half the size of him, and he's hugging him. And I mean, it's just so good, and So they must be near filming. If The Rock's done, they must be near filming.
They have to be, yeah.
Finished filming. Right, okay, so we've got Rambo there, we've got Predator, we've talked about already. Yep. Pacific Rim 2.
Well, hey! Director Guillermo Del Toro announced that Legendary Pictures is making a sequel to 2013's Pacific Rim. Yes, please. Well done. Good decision.
Just let it sink in for a moment.
There we go, it's sank in. The official release date for the sequel is April 7th, 2017. In addition, Del Toro and Legendary debuted a video in which he announced not only the forthcoming sequel, but an animated series, and a continuation of the Pacific Rim Tales from Year Zero prequel graphic novel. The director told BuzzFeed, "The characters I love will return. Raleigh, Mako, Newt, Gulib, and who knows, maybe even Hannibal Chow. But we are taking them into a fresh territory that will display amazing sights and battles. The first film set the stage, and now we're ready to have a blast." I thought the first movie was a blast. This is going to be insane. Earlier this month, Del Toro confirmed that he was already working on a sequel. Del Toro revealed that although Travis Beacham was involved in the story at first, he was working with screenwriter Zach Penn from X-Men: The Last Stand, since Travis has become a TV mogul. But
sorry, bloody moth landed on me.
Are you okay?
Look, the size of the moth.
Wow, that's a big moth.
He just landed on me. Yeah, go away. Right.
He actually just hit the mic.
Do you hear him? Right, go.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, back in the room. Yeah. Right, although Pacific Rim grossed $411 million worldwide, it only made a modest $101.8 million in the US box office. The fact that 75% of its worldwide gross like it looked like the end of the world was just about to happen.
I jumped back because this huge moth landed on my page. I didn't know what it was. The thing was the size of my hand.
Yeah, baby's hand. The fact that 75% of its worldwide gross came from international audiences, I can't even focus, blah, blah, blah. If Legendary's recent reboot of Godzilla is any indication, it's nearly double Pacific Rim's grosses in the US. It shows that American audiences are still willing to watch rampaging giant monsters, and hasn't there been talk of a Godzilla and Pacific Rim crossover?
Yes, Legendary apparently are trying to do that.
Yeah.
So basically, for a movie that a couple months ago didn't look like it was even going to get a sequel, even though everybody involved wanted to make a sequel, it's now getting a sequel, an animated series, and a comic book series.
Which is all things that it deserves, but also Hellboy deserves.
Yes, let's do that with Hellboy. Let's do that too. But you know what? Maybe the way I see it, I think Del Toro has always said that the more clout he gets, the more possibility there is that he can say, right, let's make Hellboy.
Yeah.
And movies like this, I think it's an ongoing thing. Star Trek 3 has set a course for the final frontier. Director Robert Orci is speaking to Jeff Boucher on the Humans from Earth podcast via Badass Digest, and he revealed that, unlike J.J. Abrams' Star Trek and Into Darkness, the new film will take place in deep space. Into Darkness, they set out finally where the original series started. The first two films, especially the 2009 Star Trek, was an origin story. It was about them coming together, so they weren't the characters that we know in the original series. They were growing into those characters, and that continues on the second movie. So in this movie, they're characters that you have. They're closest to those characters than you have ever seen. They have set off on their 5-year mission, so the adventure is going to be in deep space. Having previously written both the Star Trek movies, Orci is joined by screenwriters Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne on the script for Star Trek 3. Paramount has revealed that Star Trek 3 will land in theatres in 2016, just in time for the franchise's 50th anniversary.
And on a little side note, have you also heard that? Do you remember the debacle with the Star Trek Into Darkness Blu-ray?
Yes.
That certain special features were on
spread
certain
out
releases.
everywhere. You had to buy 100 releases of it.
Yeah. Well, apparently this September they're doing a deluxe release of Star Trek 2009 and Star Trek Into Darkness, where every single piece of making of and behind the scenes nonsense and special features will all be released in this one set, including some new, previously unreleased special features for both movies.
Yeah, I remember there's a big kick up about that because it was like Walmart got this special, Tesco got this special, and basically it was almost impossible to get.
Yeah, because you had to go to Sainsbury's here in the UK to get a semi-decent release of Into Darkness. So every single piece of special features, that's all discovered, right? It's all one big collection, and it'll be released in September.
Okay.
Snow White sequel.
Why not?
The Wrap is reporting that The Walking Dead TV creator and director of The Shawshank Redemption, Frank Darabont, is set to direct the sequel to the reimagined fairy tale starring Kristen Stewart and Chris Hemsworth at Universal. The story is that he beat the competition of Gavin O'Connor, director of Warrior, and Andy Muschietti, director of Mama. However, changing things significantly, Kristen Stewart is not expected to return, which is expected to emphasise Chris Hemsworth's role as the titular huntsman. Thanks to the Avengers, Hemsworth is a much bigger star since the first film was released in June 2012. Since no script has been finalised, if Stewart does return, her appearance would likely be limited to a cameo or a handful of brief scenes. So a title change will be on the cards, we imagine. Interestingly, Charlize Theron is expected to reprise her role as the evil queen. So it's basically just been called The Huntsman.
The Huntsman. Yeah, I think I'm the only person on the planet that liked that movie.
I actually haven't seen it.
I liked it.
There was 2 Snow White movies that came out that year, because there was it, and then there was Mirror Mirror as well, which was like the comedy one with Julia Roberts.
Yep.
And they both just looked dire.
No,
I didn't buy into them at all.
I like Snow White and Huntsman. Okay, Stargate. Stargate fans are still on the fence over the upcoming reboot of the franchise, and understandably so, because between the movie and the various TV spin-offs and the books and everything else, there's been a lot of history built up in that universe. The idea of just wiping it all clean is a bit of a daunting one. It's not quite Star Trek or Star Wars daunting, but it is big nonetheless. But now, speaking to the Portland Business Journal, producer Dean Devlin says that there was a plan for Stargate originally that didn't happen, but now they aim to get it back to where it was meant to go. He says, "We did the original Stargate as an independent movie. It was a surprise success, but shortly before the movie came out, the financiers, who were frightened that the movie might not do well, sold it to MGM. When the film came out, it was a hit, and it spawned TV shows. Of all the projects I've ever done, Stargate is the only one from the beginning that was intended to be a trilogy. We always wanted to do part 2 and 3, but the thinking was that they didn't want to do anything other than the TV series. So literally, for 20 years, I have been chasing this project. 20 years later, we can't really do a part 2, so we have to start from the beginning. So let's reboot the series, put in all the things that we couldn't get the first time around, and set it up properly." Now, I have to be honest with you, I liked the Stargate movie. I haven't really... I never watched the Stargate TV series.
The TV series kind of passed me by, to be honest.
I'm the same. I mean, I caught the odd episode here and there. I found it mildly entertaining. Although I do have the feeling if it was one of those shows I sat down from the start and got into, that I would like it.
Yeah, it would probably be you'd have the same fandom for it as you'd have for, say, X-Files.
Yes, exactly. Now, I know my wife watched the episodes. She was a fan of it. She did like it. But to me, this sounds like an awful slap in the face to fans of the TV series. Because while Star Wars fans are annoyed about the EU, now, you know, certain parts of it don't exist and blah, 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 they're basically saying anything up to and including the original movie is nonsense. It doesn't exist.
That's it. It's locked off in a parallel dimension somewhere.
And then surely to do this, they have to remake the first movie exactly the same.
Yeah, so what is the point in that?
You know, are they going to do this the Star Trek kind of way, where they're going to basically take in young actors to play, you know, to play Kurt Russell, to play...
That hurts my brain.
I don't know. Yeah, so, but I just think for the fans, it's a bit of a slap in the face.
G.I. Joe 3's on the way.
Do we care?
The only difference is this time around it will be a full vehicle for Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Which is good. We like Dwayne Johnson.
We do.
Did you see the second G.I. Joe movie?
I did.
What did you make?
Better than the first one. The first one.
Well, that's not saying much.
Is abysmal.
It's terrible, yeah. But apparently Paramount still have faith in this franchise.
I know. I'm not really sure if I'm bothered. Expendables, we talked about this earlier on, is now PG-13. You know what? Here's the thing. I know everybody's going, oh, it can't be a PG. I don't care. If it's fun, if it's a decent action movie, I don't care if it's EU. Yeah. It can still be a good movie. I don't care if it hasn't got people getting their heads blown off and really coarse language. If it's fun and it does what it sets out to do, fair enough.
In all fairness, in the UK that is a 12A rating.
It is, yeah.
And as we were saying earlier, 12A can get away with a fair amount of stuff in it. I mean, as Stuart was saying earlier, look at the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
There's a fair amount of violence in that which could rival the Expendables 2.
Exactly. Like, let's be honest, the Expendables 2 was made to be a PG-13. And then what happened was the fans kicked up that much that they basically inserted extra gore
bits, like blood splatter, CGI.
Like, remember the bit where they shot all the guys in the boats and it was a wee bit sort of them blowing up kind of gruesomely? Yeah. That was all added. And to be honest with you, if that scene was taken out, I would just enjoy that movie as much.
Yeah.
So I don't see what the big deal is here.
No, we know.
Now, this is news that has rocked us to our core. So much so that we've actually started a petition. Go to followingnerd.com and click on our petition at the top of the page. IDW, what's going on here?
I don't know. I'm annoyed.
I'm annoyed.
I'm really annoyed at this.
IDW have cancelled the Ghostbusters comic. Now, anybody that knows this show and follows us will know we're huge fans of Ghostbusters. We're huge fans of Eric Burnham.
Eric Burnham's never off this show.
Dan Schoening, Tristan Jones, all the guys. And we're big fans of IDW. We're not having a go at IDW here. Because we understand it's business and there was reasons and that's fine. We do understand that. But as fans...
You're starting to sound like me there. Reasons and things and stuff. Occurrences.
But as fans, on such a momentous year...
To have this is canned as a kick in the teeth.
I mean, we just had Dan and Eric on the show a few weeks ago. We were doing the big Ghostbusters special. We were talking about how great the comic book is. And I don't think the guy saw this coming. I think this was really just out of it.
Yeah. And the worst part is, like, as you've so rightly said, the IDW series is the closest to Ghostbusters that we've got since 1984.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The tone is perfect, the characters are perfect, the art is perfect, the writing is perfect. Like, you pick up a Ghostbusters book, you don't set it down until you've read it cover to cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's an absolutely fascinating read that really captures and emulates and celebrates Ghostbusters for what it truly is. And it's such a shame that it's gone.
It really is. And I mean, for me, it was always the movies, real Ghostbusters, and then assorted
IDW
stuff.
series.
But now it's the movies, the IDW. In fact, it might actually be Ghostbusters, IDW, Ghostbusters 2.
I would agree with that.
To be honest.
I would agree with that.
I think it would...
Because the IDW series haven't put a foot wrong yet.
No, they haven't.
Ghostbusters 2 did put a foot wrong with the last act of the movie.
You know what? That's good. I like that. Yeah. So far, it has ticked every box.
Yeah.
So this came out of nowhere. I spoke to Eric Burnham on the morning that the news broke, and he confirmed that yes, the series is over. IDW's official announcement read, the final issue of Ghostbusters Mass Hysteria comes to an end, and the Ghostbusters discover the price of driving Tiamat from the city, county and state of New York. But just because the big bad is beaten, it doesn't mean that psychic shenanigans are on the wane. There's always another job on deck for the boys and girls in grey. Don't miss the bombastically chaotic conclusion to IDW's ghoulishly groundbreaking Ghostbusters series. Also, artist Tristan Jones, I was talking to Tristan on the day as well, he also confirmed that things are at an end, along with his cover art for the final issue, which you can see on followingthenerd.com.
That's the moth again, he's busting
Yeah, that's all his buddies. They're showing you how they're really going to do the ants in Ant-Man.
Mothman.
Mothman. So this is gone. Now, we have started a petition on followingthenerd.com, and it proves that most of our fans couldn't be bothered with petitions. But, you know, if you feel, if this moves you enough, log on and put your name down. It only takes a second. But I know for one person, I am really, really going to miss this series.
Yeah, I use the word very sparingly, but I am devastated at this.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah, and do you know what? Like, we're talking about this year being the big 30th anniversary of Ghostbusters. It's just came and went. I really thought this year should have been the year that we got something big from Ghostbusters. Like, all we're getting now is obviously Ghostbusters 2 on Blu-ray and Ghostbusters 1 on the 4K Blu-ray release. I really think we should have gotten an announcement of an animated series.
I was sure it was coming.
And if we got an animated series, I wanted it done in the style of Dan Schoening.
Yeah.
I wanted it to look like that. I wanted Eric Burnham to write it.
Yeah. No, I was confident that it was coming, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But that's to say that Dan and Eric aren't two incredibly popular, talented guys, and I'm sure no matter what it is they go on to work on, they're going to have a ton of success with. It's just that in particular, whatever it is, they just caught lightning in a bottle again. They did the impossible. Mm-hmm. Ghostbusters caught lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
IDW caught lightning in a bottle again with the IDW Ghostbusters series.
And we know that it was lightning in a bottle because IDW had so many false starts with different writers and different artists, and let's be honest, they weren't good. They had glimpses of good, but overall they were pretty poor. And we had the 88 mile per hour series, and we had a lot of different stuff. But this series captured, and it made up for all the wrongs that had gone before.
Yeah.
So we are really sad about that. But I have a sneaky suspicion we haven't seen the end of the Ghostbusters comic yet.
Well, I hope not.
I think there's, whether it'll be a limited series or whether it'll be the odd issue here or maybe an annual, I don't know. But I have a funny feeling there's something still coming, so that this is not the end.
No.
But rather an upheaval. I think that's maybe the way to look at it. Right, okay, I think that's us. We've done a 3-hour show. We've covered 3 weeks of news. It's been mental.
I can't wait to edit this.
Yeah, and this should be available to download by 2016.
Next year. Yeah.
Okay, Saxon, before we go,
okay,
you have a wonderful and a very successful YouTube channel in which you review toys. A lot of Doctor Who stuff on there. You do the nerd news. You do a lot of fun stuff. Where could people watch this wonderful channel?
Sorry, what's this now, Ted?
Did you push the button, Dougal?
Yeah. I did, yeah. Yeah, now you can go to youtube.com/votesaxon07. Stop asking me about Doctor Who's screwdrivers!
Are you talking to me?
Yes!
Sorry. Come on, it's a running theme.
No, it's not. It's annoying as all good holy hell. Stop it.
Saxon, should I?
No.
Can I?
No.
Should
Bad. Stop.
Can I buy a Tom Baker Doctor Who scarf?
If you want. Oh dear. More announcements of more screwdrivers have been released. There's another 10th Doctor Sonic on the way!
I know, and I was so good I didn't reply.
Oh, thank God. I would have killed you through the power of Facebook.
So where is your page?
You can go to youtube.com/votesaxon07. VOTESAXON07. Type that into the search bar and let the madness begin. Nearly 24,000 subscribers.
Wow. That's most impressive.
You fill a stadium with that.
That's most impressive.
You fill a small stadium with that.
Okay, that is the end of another packed show. This has been Shine 102.4 FM, and you have been following the nerd. I have been Mark.
I have been Saxon.
Don't forget, get us on Facebook at facebook.com/following the nerd. You can tweet us at nerdfollowing, and for all the latest news, reviews, and interviews, we're going to be talking to the lovely Cassie Alexia, who played Harley Quinn in Arrow. We're going to have an interview with her very, very soon. So we're going to be doing that. Quiet you. We're going to be doing that very, very soon, and that will be available exclusively on followingthenerd.com. Until next week, in the words of the late, great Dave Allen...
Hang on. The moth's on your face. Just hang on. 2 seconds. Don't move.
Mauve? What are you doing, Mauve? You got it. Okay. Until next week, may your gods go with you. Good night.
Hang on, it's still alive.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week. If you'd like to listen in to the full show, you can stream it live every Thursday night from 9 PM UK time by clicking the link at the top of our website, followingthenerd.com. And as always, let us know your thoughts on all of our latest stories by sending us a tweet on Twitter at NerdFollowing and liking our Facebook page, facebook.com/followingthenerd. Thanks for listening, and until next time, farewell. Following the Nerd is produced and hosted by Mark Savage, with co-hosts Stephen McCullough, Jay Faulkner, and Paddy Ryan. Following the Nerd is edited by Stephen McCullough, with original music by Paul Morgan. This podcast is not endorsed by Lucasfilm Limited, 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers, Dark Horse Comics, Marvel, IDW, DC Comics, HBO, AMC, or any other company group unless expressly stated as such, and is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. Following the Nerd and the Following the Nerd logo are all rights and reserved worldwide. All of the trademarks are the property of their respective owners. Following the Nerd Online, the Following the Nerd logo, and all associated logos and designs are the intellectual property of Following the Nerd Limited. All music and recognizable features and all intellectual property related to these trademarks are likewise the intellectual property of Following the Nerd Limited. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Following the Nerd Limited, unless otherwise indicated.